Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tardis Zone live on this Monday evening. It's nice to be back, actually. And Merry Christmas to all. I hope you all had a great Christmas. I definitely did. Cheryl, you did as well, didn't you? Cooked the turkey. Yeah, first time in years cooking a turkey. It actually turned out all right. But we have some guests with us tonight, as we always do on the panel. And we'll start off with Eva. How are you, Eva?
Well, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas to you. And we've got a channel regular now, Blue Bonahuvian. Welcome.
Hey, everybody.
And, of course, another one that's becoming a bit of a regular on this channel. And thanks very much again. Short notice and is willing to drop everything to come here for me. Thanks, Paul Strick. Nice to have you again. I hope you had a good Christmas. I hope you all had a good Christmas, by the way. I should have asked you all.
Hello, Noel. It was a wonderful Christmas. But
Good.
How will New Year's be? Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, we sure will. Right, well, we might as well just start off. Look, I didn't want to start off with anything too particularly negative, but we had 2 days to go, right? We just had 2 days to go. Jodie Whittaker was doing so well, she'd kept her mouth shut. And Chris Chibnall managed to keep his mouth shut as well. All they've been really doing is promoting how scary these monsters are going to be and how they've upped the ante. But she just couldn't help herself. And of course, we might as well start with you, Ballstrick, because you did a video in response to this article. So to fill people in, just let them know what she basically said. If you can, well, obviously you still remember because it's just fresh in your memory. But just explain to people that haven't read this article why people are not happy with it. And there is quite a few people that aren't happy with it, or not happy with it. You're obviously not happy with it, and there's a lot of other people out there that are certainly not happy with it. So do you want to explain to everybody?
Oh, it was a delightful article. So this was actually, I was on a live stream with Critical Drinker, and Gary from Nerdrotic was on, and he sent me this article in the middle of the stream. Thank you, Gary. That made my day. So I believe he sent it to you as well, Noel. So thank you, Nerdrotic. Here's the headline. Jodie Whittaker. I don't understand what's politically correct about saying there is still racism within our current society. So this was published Friday the 27th, so less than a week before the series premiered. And I was thinking that the BBC might have muzzled them, but I don't think the BBC cares. So just a sec, I'm going to go grab the actual quotes. So it's more talking about how great she is, and I'm just going to pull up the specific section here. They talk about her bio, nobody cares. Okay, so I'll read this section. So from the author, one of the less valid but most persistent criticisms of the series was that thanks to its female lead, its diverse TARDIS team, and its engagement of topics such as the partition of India, and as a former professional historian myself, the author got basically completely misrepresented the thing and left out some important facts, and the American civil rights movements. So we know what that's about. We've all covered Rosa to death. Written by the show's first BAME writers. So again, rather than focusing on merits of the scripts, we focus on demographic representation. And I always say this, but I keep having to say it, even though everybody ignores me and I get the same comments daily on Twitter. I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your gender is. I don't care what your sexual orientation is, what you identify as. What I care about is, are you the right person for the job? But in 2019, and especially within the BBC, this is no longer a thing. So here we get into Whittaker's response. I ask how they feel about this, quote, backlash. Whittaker lets out a bitter laugh. What's interesting to me, she says, is we did an episode about Rosa Parks, and it highlighted Rosa Parks' heroic moment in history, but it also highlighted that modern society is still suffering from a lack of progress in some people's attitudes towards different people. Now, to put this in context, nobody especially myself, is denying that racism is still a thing. But what this show has done is, some people would call it reverse racism. I'm just calling it what it is, racism. The way Rosa Parks was portrayed, if you watch that episode, every single white person is portrayed as a complete douchebag. And he does it and he portrays both men and women like this, so it's equal opportunity racism at this point. And completely leaves out the fact that there were a lot of white people that risked their lives, and some lost their lives fighting for civil rights. So that, again, historically has always irked me. So continuing, she pauses for a moment and raises her hands into a shrug. So that's her response to this complete misrepresentation. And she says, "I just don't understand what's politically correct about saying there is still racism within our current society. I just don't understand." So less than a week before the show airs, they come out with this. Now, keeping in mind the demographic that is typically attacked are those that are traditionally Doctor Who fans. So what in the name of hell do they think the response is going to be for something like this? And earlier in the article, he also talks about introducing our new audiences, or our new audience, to new characters. So what that also says is, and I think it's pretty blatant, this show is no longer for those of us that grew up with the classic series, or even those of us that found New Who before this dumpster fire is the best word for it. But that's the gist of this article. So shooting their mouths off. And so needless to say, this is not going over well. My own video was, of course, demonetized upon upload. It got remonetized, but it happens with every Doctor Who video I put out now. But that is the gist of the article. I did a video on it. I believe Nerdrotic is going to be doing a video on it as well. Noel, I think you're doing one. So that is my spiel. That is the article.
So, girls, would you like that? Because I know the both of you have also read the article. Have you something to add? I mean, look, at a time when, I'll just say, last year we got a lot of this, okay? And one of the things that I wished for was that we didn't hear much of this. Now, I'll give credit where credit is due. They have, up until now, refrained themselves, but this doesn't bode well, because if they're discussing things like this, there's obviously going to be more virtual signaling in Series 12. And this is why I'm angry about the article, because it proves that their ideals haven't changed at all. They're going to continue. And Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall, it just looks like they haven't listened to the fans. I mean, even when they talk about the criticism, it's like, I mean, Ballstreck said it there, so bitter laugh. Like, what you bitter? There's nothing. We're the ones that are bitter. We're the ones that are angry. You've nothing to be angry about. You were handed the golden job, and you haven't been up to scratch. I mean, girls, what do you think of the article anyway? Is the first question I would ask you.
Well, they live in their own echo chamber. First of all, they don't care what we think. The fact is that the villain that they made in the show, they had to make him a white man with a leather jacket because they had nothing else. The fact is, Bolstreck's right. They chose to ignore the fact that there was white people back then that weren't for that fought for civil rights along. It's obviously just their whole goal of Series 11 was to push an agenda, and I don't see it being any different from Series 12. And that is really concerning. And if they continue to do that, it's going to be the end of Doctor Who. But again, they live in their own echo chamber. They're out of touch with real people and the real fans. And that's the problem. And they refuse because the ideology is the most important thing.
Yeah, that's what baffles me. They're only basically making this show for a small demographic of fans, and you wouldn't even call them fans, because as soon as they stop putting their ideology and their beliefs in a TV show like that, they walk away. I mean, the latest Star Wars seems to be a perfect example of that. Apparently, it's less woke than the 3 movies combined. So apparently, the SJWs now have a problem with that movie because it wasn't SJW enough. This is all they care about anyway. It's all about representation. It's nothing about the characters or where those characters develop. They just want the characters there, and they want them to go a certain route. You know what I mean? There's no character development.
Absolutely.
What do you think anyway of this latest article from Whittaker and Co?
Me, right?
Mhm.
It's a typical. Don't laugh at me, no.
Okay.
It's a typical response.
Yeah.
It's them not listening to the fans because they didn't even bother reading any of the critical remarks. Anyway, they both admitted that. I expect nothing less through Series 12. He's going to get a jab in every single episode. I mean, we've got a plastic one coming up, haven't we?
Mhm.
We know that one. But there'll be a jab in every single episode, and we're going to win prizes for who spots it first, basically. And obviously, any of these sodding historical ones, and the first 2 episodes are going to drive me insane. Paris burning. I mean, I saw that in the trailer. That never bloody happened. Paris did not burn like that. Hitler wanted to keep it the way it was because he loved it so much. Bits of Paris burned, but not that picture we saw in the trailer. So,
No,
yeah,
he wanted to keep it as a trophy.
Yeah, exactly. And Chips, as per normal. Oh, well, that didn't look so good. Let's burn the whole sodding of Paris. Sod history.
Yeah, there seems to be when they do these historical stories, though, is they tend to just, see one side as such, if it's even that, or put their own, what they believe themselves, their own ideology drives. So when they look
It's
at
not well-rounded at all. No.
Exactly, it's not a well-rounded. It's kind of a one-sided approach to it.
History is a fact, and people should not mess with that. And this is half the problem with it.
Chris Chibnall has no problem with messing with history. Sure, here I put up an article over the Christmas. Chris Chibnall now actually has his eye on historicals.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's actually down for doing more historical episodes for Doctor Who. Now, all I will say is, if you think that the so-called historical episodes that he threw out were actually good and actually want him to do this, well, then you're definitely going to kill the show, because Rosa, I don't care, still an abomination. And Demons of Punjab, we won't even get into that, but that's a mess as well. And that did not do. Look, the problem I had was supposed to be a historical episode. Okay, so where was the history in it?
Well, the problem with Demons of the Punjab, and especially the partition of India, it is such a complex story. You would need an entire series based on that alone to actually do it justice. And obviously, there were other factors. It's the way to describe the partition was just, it was a complete cluster F insert blank.
Yeah,
but
millions died. Yep. I mean, it wasn't that pretty little scene in Doctor Who. It was a horrendous part of history.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which he doesn't seem to understand, and the writers that he gets don't seem to understand. I mean, Mallory Blackman, for example, doing Rosa. I mean, no offense or anything, I know she's a black woman, but what would she know about the civil rights movement in the United States of America?
Exactly. She's
what I mean? So I mean, that's where I have a problem. If you wanted to do that Rosa Parks episode, I've no problem. If you got someone in America that understands,
and I said the same thing when I watched it. I didn't understand. How would she know?
But again, then they put a gimmick of a villain in to kind of, because they can't, as Bolstrick has said on numerous videos covering Rosa, you can't do a historically accurate story on Doctor Who like that, especially Rosa, because you have to bring in that gimmick villain because you can't touch it because, as Yvette has also said as well, you can't mess with history. So you get these villains that are just absolute. I mean, that villain basically looked like it was shoehorned in. You know what I mean? He said, right, we do Rosa Parks, but how are we going to do this? Then someone just probably said to him, let's get a white racist.
It made no sense. It made zero sense to that story, adding him.
I know. What was his motivation? Does anybody remember his motivation?
He was
a racist.
Yeah, that's it. He was a straight racist.
He didn't want the black people to succeed in the future. On it from his planet, I think the African American people were like successful. I could be wrong, but I remember just scoffing at that. I thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought it's ridiculous, and he was a Hollyoaks actor as well. So I mean, he seems to have this thing, Chibnall, her and ex-Hollyoaks actresses and actors like. And this just goes to show you how far this show has actually fallen. They've gone for the cheaper options, basically. They've tried to turn Doctor Who. Someone made a point, I don't know who it was. Someone made the point that tried to turn Doctor Who into a CW show.
I did.
And I would actually agree with that 100%. Yeah. I would agree. It looks like
it's the river. It's like the science fiction Riverdale now.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, and the thing with historicals is it was proven in the 1960s that historicals don't actually work with Doctor Who. It was done during the William Hartnell years, and they were pure historicals where you wouldn't have outside villains because part of the original impetus for the show was that it was going to be educational.
Correct.
Well, when I look at the ratings,
that's right.
Yeah, and the ratings for the historical episodes were pathetic when you compare it to when the Daleks, for instance, would show up.
Yeah.
Well, without Daleks, I don't think Doctor Who would be here now.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry guys. I just want to read this. Balstrick, this is for you. I actually want to read this out because this is actually a nice comment. Can you please tell Balstrick his videos have gotten me through a very difficult Christmas. I've been very ill and his content has kept me highly entertained and fundamentally, as a fan, speaks for me. That's
really nice. That's nice. Yeah, we all feel that way.
Thank you, Biggs. I hope you are feeling a lot better, and that is a nice thing to say. Really is. Balstrick.
Yeah, no, Sanctuary of Geeks, thank you very much for the kind words. And yeah, I've had a few Christmases that have just downright sucked. So it's always nice if you have something that can distract you from that. So if I help make your Christmas a little bit better with my anger, grumpiness, and talking goat, then I'm glad I was able to do that. But hopefully you're feeling better, my friend.
Yeah. I hope you are, man. There's nothing worse than being ill over Christmas. I remember one Christmas myself, man. It's bleeding horrible. But listen, hopefully New Year now we'll all have something good to talk about. If not, watch out for Balstrick's videos because he will keep you entertained over the New Year. Trust me. There'll be plenty.
My comment section will keep you entertained. Just look at it.
Yeah.
Or my Twitter feed. That's always good for a laugh too.
Yeah, I agree. It does be funny, some of the comments. So actually, me and Balstrick actually won an award, by the way.
We're twats. I forgot about that.
I was called that too, but
we are. Yeah, we won the award for best twats. Well, I was quite disappointed that I wasn't actually putting the racist and transphobic.
They didn't add boomer to that.
But to be called a twat, thank you.
I'm sorry, Blue Bonnet.
I said,
boomer.
No, I'm just saying that's the insult that they throw out at everybody that doesn't.
I know, yeah. It's funny. Like they actually think that insults us.
It's not. It's actually a compliment.
It is.
It's a compliment.
The funny thing
I looked at it as that. Well, yeah, or Nola and I were part of the generation that nobody talks about because they're terrified of us, so we're just boomers. Gen X was never a thing. It was just a figment of everyone's imagination.
Right.
Balstrick, I'm older than both of you.
Well,
you are a boomer then.
Are you a boomer?
Yeah, I'm a boomer.
Okay,
You're
well,
a boomer.
That's good.
I would not have guessed that. No,
Thank
Gen
you.
X is 1968 through 1979.
Me.
Well, all right, I'm on the edge then.
Yeah.
Gen X is not a boomer or not a millennial. We are the generation that fixed a lot of the issues that younger people are now claiming no longer exist, or that I should say were no longer resolved and still exist. So they will ignore us because we poke holes in the entire woke argument. So I'm like, well, yeah, you're saying you had it bad. Well, we didn't have it much better, and we weren't blaming our parents for it.
Right, listen, we'll just go off Doctor Who for a few minutes. Well, it's still Doctor Who related, but let's talk something a little bit positive. So Bernhard Gribbins was 91 yesterday.
Wow.
Speaking of people that don't look their age, holy crap.
He doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely amazing actor as well.
He's a national treasure.
Yeah, for those who don't know, which I know yous will know, but for those that don't know, he actually played Wilf, Donna's grandfather. And I've said this, the best scenes are with him and David Tennant and him when they're together. They are the best scenes, absolutely brilliant. I watched Voyage of the Damned there because we actually recorded all the Christmas specials, and I put Voyage of the Damned on. And I know he's only in it for a few minutes. He's only in it for literally 2 minutes or something. But it's brilliant. It's just, especially when David Tennant disappears in front of him and he starts looking around and stuff. What's going on here? But so happy 94th birthday, Jesus, man! He has seen a lot in his time. So
yeah.
And he was on a Big Finish audio with David Tennant just this past year, so he would have been 90 when he did that, and he hasn't lost it at all.
No. And of course, we go back to the films. He was in the Doctor Who films.
Yeah.
The Cushing.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be also in Dad's Army remake, but he had to pull out due to personal issues. So I hope he wasn't sick or anything, because he would have been a brilliant fit for that movie anyway.
Well, he's been in the running for the role of the Doctor more than once, too.
Yeah, I'm glad they got him in it anyway, but yeah, I just want to wish him a happy birthday because I absolutely adore him. He's probably one of the non-companions, as I call them. He's up there as one of the best, in my opinion. Loved him ever since he's been in Doctor Who. So, yeah. So, any of you guys got anything nice to say about Bernhard?
Good old Wilf. Yeah, he. I love the scene where they're on the. I guess it's the plane. And he's basically he's telling David Tennant's character, Doctor Who, obviously, that he, well, I think he's expressing that the fact that, he wishes, like, I'm trying to remember what I was trying to say. I'm off on another thing. Basically that, the father figure thing. I really enjoyed that dynamic between them, and to me, that was really like heartwarming to see that. So, yeah, that's probably my favorite scene.
Yeah, mine's when he shoots the Dalek with the paintball gun. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I love that. Oh, you great, was it? Oh, you green swines. No, don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Yeah.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's yeah. Man, see, but that's what you want from Doctor Who. You want moments like that, but you don't get that with this new era, unfortunately. Even with these old monsters coming back, and you would say it's a bit of a course correction, going back to what tried and tested, whether BBC would like to admit it or not. But if they double down on the politics, well, then it doesn't matter, as I've said all along. If the writing falls apart and we've got more of these politics in Series 12, well, then it's gonna fall apart. It's gonna be absolutely. Oh man, if this bombs, I just don't look. If it bombs, YouTubers are gonna have a merry dance with it, right? But
we're gonna be having a merry dance with it anyway. I'm going full woke Batman on this show.
But as a fan, it's going to be sad to see because nobody wants to see the downfall of their TV show. Now, I know some people have said the deals out there will suggest that Doctor Who can still survive and will be dragged through the mud, and that's what I'm afraid of. Because
that's why the TV license needs to go.
Yeah, someone actually asked the question there earlier, put it up on the screen. They're actually talking about the TV license. Do they think that Boris Johnson will actually abolish the TV license? Now, he has spoke about this now. No matter what your personal feelings are on Boris Johnson, this is the question I'm asking. Do you think Boris Johnson will actually think about getting rid of the TV license? I think he wants to come down hard on the BBC, to be quite honest with you. And if anybody is going to do it, it would be Boris Johnson. So do you think
he doesn't like the BBC at all?
No. So do you think he could do it forcefully? And if he can do it, do you think he will do it?
I think he wants to do it. Yeah. Whether he'd get it through Parliament's another thing.
Because a lot of the lords are not paid off by. See, this is the thing. Have to be careful because they've already copyright strike me once. But what I will say about the BBC is, trust me, they would have a contingency plan in place. They know that something like this. If people think that BBC haven't envisioned this coming to this, they have, and they will obviously have a plan B in place, as BBC big corporations always do. I hope Boris does. To be quite honest with you, it'll finally break the BBC. Whether it'll make huge difference, I do not know. But something needs to be done with the BBC. We can all be in agreement on that one. Something needs to be done about the BBC. I mean, the fact that they're still charging people for a TV license and they throw out that muck. And I mean, their Christmas schedule, if you look at it, I can understand why there was a bit of a fan backlash, because I was actually looking at the Christmas schedule over Christmas on the BBC, because I have the station, just to see what it was like. And I have to say, there was a lot of repeated shows. There was a lot of repeated movies that they've shown the last 3 years. There was only a couple of new stuff. Now, Gavin and Stacey, I don't know if any of you on the panel have watched Gavin and Stacey, but Gavin and Stacey caused a bit of controversy because of a song. So Fairy Tale in New York is a very famous Christmas song. Now, it's been voted by British people, along with Irish people in this country as well. It's got an Irish singer, the Pogues lead singer. I always forget his name, but he looks awful. Anyway, Shane McGann sings the song, right? So there's a certain line in this song, right? And, there's never been any controversy around it. Up until, the last few years, obviously, we've gotten a lot more woke in SJW. So now this song has caused an awful lot of controversy because it has the word in it that rhymes with maggot. So I won't say them, right? So it's your scumbag, your maggot, your cheap lousy, right? That's the name of this. So they sang that at the end of Gavin and Stacey, right? That was the end of the TV show, right? And of course, everybody got offended. Now, one thing I will say is I have loved the response from the LGBT, whatever. There's so many letters. You know what I'm talking about, right? That crowd. The response by them has been magnificent because they've all said, look, it's a 30-odd-year-old song. Get over it. Right? It's a word. It wasn't meant in a derogatory fashion when the song was sung, which it wasn't. It's been explained, right? And Fairy Tale in New York, if you haven't heard the song, it's by the Pogues and Kirsty MacColl. I would suggest that you do go and listen to the song. It is one of those greatest Christmas songs out there.
It was voted the favourite.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I watched that. We all watched that. That was 3 years ago. They did that big Christmas countdown of the greatest Christmas song of all time, and Fairy Tale in New York won it. And that's an Irish song, and to be voted by a load of Brits makes me proud anyway. But the fact that they chose the right song, in my opinion, I think Band-Aid Band-Aid came second, and you know that had another
last Christmas.
last Christmas. But Band-Aid, do they know it's Christmas? Yeah. I used to like that song, but it's got another Irish asshole in it. Well, two Irish assholes in it.
Bob Geldof?
Bob
No,
Geldof.
we're talking about you too.
Let's not forget about Bing Crosby. Right, White Christmas. Still to
that's
this day,
brilliant. Great.
all these years later, still holds the record for the best-selling single of all time.
Oh, that's great. That's a
but
great
then they hate Bing now because of his scene in Holiday Inn, which was filmed in 1942. So what you're talking about, it's people getting offended on behalf of other people. And given that I'm somewhat of a lightning rod, most of the hate that I get it's very rarely ever from the groups that I'm told I am biased against, which I think evidence proves that I'm not. But it's always typically young, straight, white British males who are getting offended on behalf of other people, which I find hilarious. And I'm like, okay. Whereas people who are that demographic or various demographics will speak up. I'm like, well, actually, no, he's not. I'm like, well, thank you. So the people that you are pretending to speak for are actually the people that are standing up and defending the people that you're attacking. And I'm starting to see that more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it seems to be, well, it's bad in Canada. Well, it's Canada.
Poor Canada. Let's say a prayer for Canada. Yeah.
We're beyond hope. We're looking at two separation movements right now. So my country's a disaster.
No, you've got Supernatural being filmed there. It's brilliant.
Oh, everything's filmed here. Doctor Who was filmed here once, the TV movie. X-Files, for the most of the time, was filmed here. Unfortunately, Star Trek Discovery is also filmed here.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Yeah, we're Hollywood North.
Glenn Edwards says, Die Hard, the best Christmas movie ever. Well,
John McClane,
I don't think it's Christmas.
There has been a debate about this, and we'll talk about this for a few minutes. So there has been a debate on social media. Even Bruce Willis has got involved in this. So the question is Die Hard considered a Christmas movie? Now, I'm going to answer and say yes. Now, I know there's people out there that say no, but for me, it's fundamentally a Christmas movie.
No.
It takes place at Christmas, so I'll give it that.
I think Gremlins is more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard.
Gremlins is a
Now, I'd agree with you on that one. But I still think Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
No.
Well, okay then. But why do the TV stations show it every Christmas? Because
it's marketing. They're going to go with, whatever, because people have discussed it a lot. They're going to go with, it gets people to view.
What about The Wizard of Oz? That's shown every Christmas.
Yeah.
The rubbish.
Sound of Music is in the Christmas movie.
Sound of Music every year, too.
Yeah, they are not Christmas movies.
Okay, Sound of Music technically isn't a Christmas movie, but I think it's a Christmas movie. Because it's shown every Christmas. See, that's the way I identify it. If it's shown around the Christmas time, well, then,
I can see what you're saying, but
we're forced to watch it every Christmas. Let's get it.
Well, they show Indiana Jones every Christmas as well.
That's not a Christmas movie. Come on, that's reaching now.
And
It's a Wonderful Life.
Star Wars. Yeah,
It's a Wonderful Life is shown every Christmas, but it isn't actually a Christmas movie. Only, I think, 25% of the film actually takes place around Christmas. But I still associate that with Christmas.
Right.
Right, so my wife has said, Die Hard is a Christmas movie, I will fight you on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Cheryl has spoken.
It's a Christmas movie, okay, yeah. Sorry, Noel.
We'll back up.
We just agree with the wife, right? Because we don't, what happens. I get it.
Cheryl, I don't agree with you, Cheryl.
Oh, Yvette just had to argue with you. She says she doesn't agree with you, Cheryl. She doesn't agree. But Cheryl, she's just had to making that face. You know that face? Yeah.
Bring her on.
Oh, I tell you, I don't know. I mean, showing now. I mean, Lethal Weapon is showing over the Christmas as well.
No, that's not a Christmas one either.
Well,
that's no.
Okay.
No.
Someone asked me if I watched the new Wurzel Gummidge. No, I have them recorded. Now, what I have heard is it's closer to the source material, because I've heard a lot of people are giving out because there was a little bit of an agenda in it, right? See, here's the problem we're going to have, right? Everything that we watch now is going to have a little bit of agenda in it, right? The way I kind of measure things now is, and I don't know how you guys measure things now, the way I measure it now is the least woke crap it has in it, and if the writing is actually good, I will watch it. So the writing has to be up to scratch. As we've all said, right, you can have these agendas in a show if you want to, once they're not smacking your face, but if the writing's at least decent, we can tolerate a certain amount. So I haven't watched Wurzel Gummidge, but for those people that are giving out because they cast two black kids in the role, right? No. Okay, at the end of the day, as I said, we all know about this inclusion strategy fucking agenda thing yoke that they have, right? So they have to fill a certain amount of quotas. So there's no point of giving out about two innocent kids. They took the role because obviously they want to be on TV, right? But to be attacking them is actually wrong, to be quite honest with you. I haven't seen the new show. I haven't recorded, and I will review it. If anybody wants me to review it, I will review it because it'll be interesting. But I will say it's getting a mixed review. Some people are saying it was charming and wonderful. Others are saying it was actually pretty pathetic casting. As I said, some people had an issue with the race of the children, which to me shouldn't be even. See, this is the problem that we're having now. Racism is rife in society right now. We've seen it on the big stage on football grounds in England. It's been there for everybody to see lately, and it needs to be sorted out. Look, as I said before, the way I judge things now is if it's not that woke and the writing is actually decent, I will watch it because nothing is going to escape the wokeness. I'm sorry, there's a few shows that have survived without it, but the likes of The Expanse will eventually go down that route. I'm sorry, they will go down that route. Mr. Robot went down that route. They'll all eventually go down that route because those people out there that are running the show, that want all these agendas, they're not going to be happy until every single thing that we watch is influenced by what they want us to know and what they want to preach to us. So go ahead, Bolster. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say outside of the BBC, which is a separate case altogether, I think we actually are seeing a turnaround this year. And the reason why we are is look at all the woke Hollywood movies that have come out in the past year. Right. They all lost money. They were absolute catastrophes. So it's some people or some studios will still double down on it, but we're seeing examples right now. One is the Rise of Skywalker, which has a lot of issues. It's a terrible movie, but identity politics outside of what they had to deal with from the fallout of The Last Jedi was largely left to the side. The new Ghostbusters movie, politics is largely being left to the side. And this is also why the BBC needs to lose its license fee, because Hollywood, they're private corporations. They have to make a profit. And now you have definitive proof that people don't like this. People don't want to see it. Look at something like Joker, which did have some politics in it, but definitely wasn't woke. For a low budget, but still DC Warner-owned property, to be $1 billion movie is unheard of. And one of the reasons why Joker succeeded the way it did was because it was devoid of identity politics. So I don't think Hollywood will ever recover because the damage since, ironically, Ghostbusters 2016 is so substantial that most of these franchises will never really recover. Star Wars, there are positive signs with The Mandalorian, but I don't think Star Wars, because of the hate that The Last Jedi engendered, will never recover. Star Trek might, because nobody watches the streaming service that Star Trek Discovery is on. So it's almost a non-event unless Picard goes completely woke, then Star Trek is done too. But a lot of these other franchises, Terminator was already done. X-Men, we won't be seeing that for at least another decade. Yeah. Men in Black is definitely done.
Well, that's dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently they're wheeling out Tommy Lee Jones. I don't know if Will Smith is going to agree to appear in it. But what's going to happen is the international cast is going to join Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith if this movie is rumored to be getting made. And both sides will be joining each other, and then we'll have a movie, probably a movie franchise with that. Look, Men in Black is dead, right? It was dead. You're right about Terminator. Terminator franchise was already dead anyway. It was dead after
It's been dead since Terminator 3. Setting aside Sarah Connor Chronicles is good. Outside of Terminator 3 and the Sarah Connor Chronicles, it's been dead.
Yeah. It was. That's what I mean. Rise of the Machines is the third one. I mean, third one should never have been made. Second one was great to end on. Should have left after the second one. Now, I will admit, I went to see Rise of the Machines 4 times when it actually came out. And I will say, at the time, it was a bit of nostalgia. It was great to have Terminator back on the big screen, to be honest with you. And I did actually like that scene where he pulls the coffin out. And John Connor thinks it's his mother, but it's not. It's all the weapons. And he walks out with the coffin through the graveyard, and he's been fired at. And then the Terminator music comes on. For me, it wasn't a bad movie, but you could see it was already declining. You could see it should have just 2 was enough. 2 was enough. And actually, that's interesting. What other franchises out there do you think should have stopped after even maybe the first movie? Is there a franchise out there that you could think of that should have stuck with the first movie and not moved on? Blade Runner would be one for me. I thought that the first Ridley Scott movie, great. Didn't like the new one so much. I actually found it boring, to be quite honest with you. But it was, as usual, visually, it was stunning. But I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's a movie. And I think Joker now shouldn't get a sequel.
No.
And I know there's rumors. I know the director came out first, said it was bullshit, but it's persisted, and he hasn't come out and said that since. There might be a talk of a second movie. I don't think there should be a second Joker movie. Why? I know they want to strike while the iron is hot, but for this one, not leave it. Why not do, right? See the way they did Joker, and I make this point, and I want to ask you guys in the panel if you agree with me, right? So the way they did Joker, this movie, why not get a DC character that's not as popular? Not that's the wrong word. Not as well known, and give it a kind of a Joker treatment. Give it that gritty, dark feeling. Do you know what I mean? And actually do that, and you might get more. I mean, Joker's become their most successful movie, hasn't it? To date, I think that's the most success. I know it was the most successful R-rated movie, but has it become the most successful movie of all time now?
For R-rated, yes. Right. I believe it's the first R-rated movie to cross the 1 billion mark. And I'm going to have to step away in just a minute, guys. My dog is... she does this every time I do a live stream.
It's fine.
You go ahead, Ballstrick, if you want to do
but
it.
I wanted to answer your question very quickly just before about movies. Okay. Aliens should have ended after the second movie. That's a prime example. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Yep. Nightmare on Elm Street, which even though I like the movies that followed, nothing ever came close to the first one. Child's Play.
Number 3 was good.
That is true. And I'd say probably Halloween, although the first 2 movies really are kind of a 2-parter. But yeah, I'll leave you with that for just a second, and I will be right back.
No problem, man. No problem. I mean, another one for me actually would be the Amityville Horror. I don't think there was.
Oh yeah, they went way too long with that.
But I did like. What was it? Was it part? I don't know if it was part 2 or part 3. But one of I know the first one was brilliant, I don't know if the second one. I don't know if it was the
Second one was rubbish.
Yeah, so it must have been the third one.
Yeah,
then.
I've seen it, but I don't even remember it.
Have you actually seen the Ryan Reynolds version? Have you seen the Ryan Reynolds version?
No, I haven't seen that. I'm not a huge. I mean, I know this is controversial, but I don't like Ryan Reynolds that much. I mean, he was okay in Deadpool.
Now, I will admit, I'm not one for horror remakes. I actually thought the Nightmare on Elm Street one was a joke.
Rubbish.
I did like now, and I'll probably be slated for this now. I love the original Omen trilogy, right?
Oh yeah,
I love it.
Love it. But I did like the remake that they brought out. They actually brought it out on my birthday. On my birthday, which was weird, right? They actually brought that out on my birthday, and I went to actually go and see it on my birthday.
Yeah, I actually watched it. I prefer the original, but it's pretty good.
It's good. It actually is good. It's not a bad remake, and I have to say they got a coup when they got your woman to play the nanny. What was her name? What was that actress's name?
Mia Farrow.
Yeah, Mia Farrow.
Yeah.
That was a stroke of genius, man. And
it was perfect.
And play the priest as well. Yeah, it was good. I did like that.
For me, and this is me, my husband, my son just can't believe that I say this, but The Matrix. I thought the first one was really good, but I just felt like the other two movies it revealed too much. Yeah, I like a little mystery.
Yeah, The Matrix. Look, the interesting thing about The Matrix is that we've heard years later that apparently The Matrix wasn't actually a set of movies; they were actually documentaries. Now, the first Matrix movie was a feat in itself because nothing like this was ever tried, especially with the special effects. It was ahead of its time, right? Now, they tried that trick once. To repeat it a second and third time, it was never going to have the same effect. Now, that's happened to a recent horror franchise that has came to be in Sinister. The first Sinister movie was absolutely fantastic because it was something fresh. It was genuine jump scares in it. And of course you had what's his face in it as well, that actor, what's his name? He was in that movie with Denzel Washington, where he plays the bad cop.
Ethan Hawke?
Ethan Hawke is in it, isn't it? Yeah, that's who plays. Yeah. No, that's not his name, is it? Yeah. Is it? Is that his name? Is that really his name? All right, I didn't. Yeah, right. Right, but they brought Sinister was brilliant, right? It was genuinely the first horror movie that I've seen in a long time that scared the crap out of me because it was done well. Now, I've grown up with horrors all my life. My mother was a great one for horrors. We'd sit there and watch the likes of Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Fog, The Thing, you name it, Alien. I watched them all before the age of, I say, 14, right?
Yeah, me too.
Back then, parents were far more.
I remember my mom letting me watch The Shining when I was like, when I was like, I don't know, I was really young.
Now, I do remember, and I don't know if you remember, but I do remember if there was any naughty parts on the TV, we were told to turn our heads, or the dad would fast forward to see what used to happen was his parents were actually responsible.
Right.
What they do is they'd rent out a movie from the video store for 2 days. Right? And what they do is they'd watch it the night before themselves, right? And then they'd watch it again with us because then they know exactly when.
Exactly. And they would know what. I did the same thing with my son.
Yeah. For example, Aliens, right? The second part of Aliens. Do you remember the part where the soldiers find your woman? She comes alive. They find your woman and she starts having the spasm and the alien pops out of her stomach. Our chest. Well, for years, my mum and dad wouldn't let us actually watch that part, right?
Wow.
And this was a movie that was on the TV all the time. So they wouldn't let us watch the alien come out of the chest for years and years. And then one night I remember watching the movie and they didn't tell us to turn our heads. And then you kind of knew, yes, I'm allowed.
Finally,
That means now I'm allowed to watch the rest of them without turning my heads. But no, there was still a couple of exceptions because parents back then were responsible and didn't let their children watch these things on their own. Now that's all they do, and then they wonder why kids are messed up now.
And let's be honest, some of the video games that parents let their kids play at an early age is it's ridiculous.
I
mean,
agree.
they're really violent too.
I agree, but you shouldn't blame. But here's the thing: what happens?
Can't blame them. Yeah, you can't blame them.
the video game companies
Mhm.
because they're making games. Look, I grew up. Look, we all grew up with violent cartoons, even growing up. I mean, Tom and Jerry. When you think of the premise of that is pretty violent, right? You had the Roadrunner. That's pretty violent. You know, we grew up with all these cartoons. We grew up with all the. I mean, we watched Home Alone, right, with Macaulay Culkin there.
Oh yeah, that was pretty violent.
And Cheryl was just saying all the time, and she was right. She says if that really happened, they'd be dead.
Right.
And just think, because at the time when you're a kid, you're laughing at these things, and you don't. Whereas an adult, I'm looking at this, and she was right, and I was looking at this movie kind of different, saying, "Geez, that Kevin McAllister one's really a sinister little bugger, isn't he? He's actually trying to kill kids, like."
Yeah.
You see what he puts them through. Like,
Mhm.
it's actually quite a sinister movie, but these are the type of things we grew up with. But look, we didn't turn out to be violent and weird lunatics.
Exactly, because our parents taught us right from wrong. And they, you know, and they, like you said, they censored, you know, what we saw. I mean, they didn't completely like take the movie away from us because you're going to see it at a friend's house anyway at some point.
Yeah. I mean, look, it did me no harm. And I hate the way they try to shield kids from this sort of thing. I mean, Tonga Cats, right? I grew up with that as a kid. Now, I've only came across this abomination, Tonga Cats Raw. Now, I don't know who the
it looks completely woke.
I don't know who these animators are.
I just came in on that. Hello again. I'm back.
Hello.
I don't know who the animators are, but they must have been 5 or 6 years of age, right? Now,
Well, they did the same thing with She-Ra.
Now, I heard the stories are actually pretty decent for this show, but if the animation is like that, it throws me off anyway. But apparently it's for today's kids because kids are very sensitive. And this is what I hate. We've made kids sensitive because everybody gets a medal now. Yeah, if you come in last place, you get a medal. I remember
we didn't get medals, we got yelled at.
There you go.
Right, we get the Switch. We go pick out the Switch from the backyard.
You should see me run. It's hilarious. Even as a kid, I couldn't run. I had lanky legs. I was awkward. I was skinny, right? Every time I ran, I tripped myself up, right? I finished every running race nearly last, right? Until I came, obviously that was in my primary school. But by the time I got to secondary school, a little bit older, then I'd enter these competitions. Now, I'd still come last in some, but I'd come first in others. But every time you came last, you were the lads, you know, the ones that beat you come over, be in your face and all that. Look at you coming last again, you loser, blah. But it spurred you on. You can't do that now. Apparently, it's bullying.
Well, now they give you participation ribbons.
Yeah, participation. Me arse. If you come last, you're a loser.
You're last.
That's
how you learn. That's how you get better.
Yeah.
But where's the motivation to do better?
Well, there isn't any motivation. That's why. And I'm not saying all young people are like this, but that's why we're seeing the sense of entitlement. And I equate that to a lot of these misguided young men that create Twitter mobs against me, where it creates a sense of arrogance, and it creates a sense where, okay, I'm 21, but I know how the world works better than you. Whereas, no, you don't. When I was 21, yes, I'm sure we all thought we knew everything, but back then the world would put us back in our places. I'm like, sorry, but you don't. You learn through experience. You know, wisdom comes with age. Wisdom doesn't come at 20.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Lee, because we were talking, Lee Anthony Davis says Star Wars was cutting edge and way ahead of its time, and then the 2 sequels that followed will always be remembered, and that is why they will never be surpassed. What do the panel think? Are we talking about the original Star Wars trilogy? Because we actually watched a bit of that over the Christmas. All I will say is, as a non-Star Wars fan, right? Because I am a non-Star Wars fan. I'm a casual Star Wars fan, as you would say. So by right, this new trilogy was aimed more at me, my demographic, for people that are not diehard Star Wars fans, and even I thought it was a shit show. The new trilogy will never be remembered. I'm being honest. I think this trilogy will be quickly forgotten. It'll only be remembered for the negativity that came with it and the negativity that it caused. It created the fandom menace, of course. Without the fandom menace, then we wouldn't have the Mandalorian. But the original trilogy is untouchable, in my opinion. And I'm not a Star Wars fan. And it does have its moments where I am like a little kid watching them, even though I'm not a true Star Wars fan. I'm more of a Trekkie, I have to admit that. But it is a shame to see what's happened Star Wars. Now, The Mandalorian, as I said, it's getting mixed reviews, but a lot of them seem to be positive. Now, why didn't Disney do that in the beginning for the movie franchise? Why not, approach this the proper way? I'll tell you why, because they don't give a shit. But they're after losing money now. See, you've got to remember, right? And I'm not big into everything Star Wars, but what I will say is Disney bought this for, I don't know how much. What was it, 5 billion or something?
4.05 billion.
There you go. Right. You mean to tell, right, this franchise has not made the money back. Right? This franchise hasn't made that money back. And that's what Disney was banking on. Actually, if you were to actually ask Kathleen Kennedy and the people behind these Star Wars movies what they were actually hoping to achieve with these movies, I bet you deep down inside themselves, they were thinking, we'll break $1 billion or $2 billion for the first movie. By the second movie, we'll have the money made back. And by the third movie, that'll be the first movie of profit. Right? But that's not how it's turned out. So Star Wars Disney, yes, is in an awful lot of trouble. I don't know if The Mandalorian is going to be good enough for those Star Wars fans, but we will talk Mandalorian for a minute because Bolstrick has been watching The Mandalorian. Will The Mandalorian help heal this fandom, or is it too little too late from Disney?
Well, and actually, no, before I do that, I just want to just address one of the comments there. Derek McManus, just with what we were just talking about, by the time I was 21, I had 2 years in the Army behind me. So I just want to say, yes, and I know I've said this before, but thank you very much for your service. But that's just another example of sort of the divide we're looking at right now. Exactly. I just wanted to bring that up before we went on. But will Mandalorian heal Star Wars? It has fixed it to a certain extent. There is some identity politics in it, but it's not in your face. It is a very diverse cast, but it's, you're invested in these characters. So as far as I'm concerned, race and gender is neither here nor there in that, that show.
So the writing must be an improvement on what we've been getting for the movies then. And that's what's drawing you to it, is the writing, and the characters obviously have interesting character arcs.
The writing is better. It's not perfect. I think Gary's description probably works the best. It's a live action cartoon, so it's not exactly deep. Baby Yoda is very cute. But what I can say for entertainment, it's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be something to distract you. And, was I entertained by it? Did I have a good time watching it? Yes. So in its core, I think it did its job. Is it anything like the original trilogy? No. But then nothing will ever come close to the original trilogy. There's some movies that you can pinpoint in series that can never be repeated. I'd say Star Wars, definitely episodes 4 and 5, and the scenes at the end of episode 6. It's like trying to remake or equal something like Casablanca or Citizen Kane or It's a Wonderful Life, any of these classic films. There are some things that can never be topped. And the problem is, if you try to emulate that, that's when you're going to fail. At least within Star Wars, whereas episode 7 was A New Hope remade, essentially. At least with The Mandalorian, they are trying to do something different, so I will give it that. but nothing in the Star Wars universe will ever come close to those first 3 films. I saw Return of the Jedi in the theaters when I was 5, and even then I was mesmerized by it. And even at that age, I could see the importance and the impact of the final scenes in that movie. So that's my take on it.
I've got a question for you then, because you mentioned something very interesting there. So, Disney Star Wars will never be able, as you said, to emulate anything that came close to the original trilogy, and they shouldn't even try. And maybe that's what they've tried to do, and it's failed spectacularly. Right? So, with that said, what would Star Wars fans actually like to see from Disney Star Wars? I mean, if you still want the big budget movies, obviously they haven't worked. Okay, what will bring Star Wars fans back on side with Disney? What would they need to do, in your opinion, and to the rest of the panel as well, if you have any thoughts on this? What do you think they need to do to bring Star Wars fans back? And then I'll ask the very same question. We'll go back to Doctor Who. I'll ask that very same question about Doctor Who a bit later on. But we'll start off with Star Wars first. So, who wants to start first? What do you think they need to do, or what would you do if you were in charge of Disney Star Wars right now?
Well, I'll let somebody else go first this time.
I'm up for it. Right.
Oh,
Hello, Belstrick. Okay, I think Disney would have to open their gates to every single one of their parks free of charge to every Star Wars fan to even get them on side.
But even then, would anybody want to go?
Exactly.
You're right.
Exactly.
I wouldn't.
Exactly.
But,
Don't get me wrong. I'm a 40-year-old man, and I've always wanted to go, and I'm no shame in saying it. I've always wanted to go to Disneyland, Florida. Is it Florida? Is that the proper Disneyland in Florida?
Yeah.
I was talking to Sarah.
Disney World is in Florida, and Disneyland is in California.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I've always wanted to go there, but I wouldn't go there now. I wouldn't support Disney.
You're not
right
missing
now.
anything.
But I'd still love to go. It's just been one of those things. I
Yeah.
think kids, especially when I was a kid in Ireland, Disneyland always seemed, because you see those ads from America, you'd had Universal Studios, and then you'd have, Disneyland, and it'd make it look pretty
Very magical.
Yeah, exactly, because then you look at Ireland and it's all green fields, mountains, and cities and stuff. It's not, So yeah, I don't know. But what would you think? I mean, okay, I still wouldn't go, and I know Star Wars fan. They're not even going to the Disney Star Wars park that they've. What's that park called again? The Disney one that's failed, basically flopped.
Star Wars Experience? I can't even remember what it's called. It's that much.
Yeah, I think it's a Star Wars experience.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll call it what it is: a complete flop and failure.
Yeah.
Just look at some of the videos. Nobody's there, and you can pay a couple $100 to build a lightsaber that doesn't actually work.
Paul says the Mandalorian works on its own. It's a separate vehicle. If you look at it for being its own vehicle, you will enjoy it. It's not the films. Yeah, I agree. But what I'm trying to say is, right, the Mandalorian obviously has worked to a certain extent. So to kind of use that template on the movie franchise, what would you guys do to win? Because you would have to win these fans back. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Ballstrick, but this Rise of Skywalker movie, so far as I've seen, has made 800 million worldwide so far. It will hit the billion mark, it looks like. So it's not. It hasn't been. Let's be honest here. It hasn't been the huge failure that everybody was expecting it to be. To be honest with you, it seems to have got a second wind. I don't know why now. I will say this: Disney have had a habit, and I just have to put that out there. There's been evidence suggested that Disney have they. How do I put this without getting into trouble? Let's just say the numbers for Captain Marvel weren't exactly the true numbers that they were portraying. So they might have pulled the same trick with this Star Wars movie. But I haven't watched it yet. We are going to watch it. We said we would watch it, so because Cheryl is a Star Wars fan. Cheryl wasn't talking to me for a couple of days because I did actually ruin.
Apparently that was my fault indirectly.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cheryl.
Well, Cheryl doesn't blame you. She blames me because she says I was listening to the video, so I should have known better, and she was right. It's Galaxy's Edge. Says,
okay.
So Star Wars Galaxy Edge. That's that Disney park. Yeah. So I'll just ask. Just the same question again, Blue Bonnet, to you. What do you think Disney Star Wars need to do to win the fans back to the movie franchise now? Or do you think they should go down, like The Mandalorian, they should go down that route now and just do TV shows? Do you think these movies have actually ruined future franchises? I think it's the question I'm trying to ask.
Well, I'm on episode 4 of The Mandalorian, and I think they're on the right track. Other than what Bolstrek had pointed out, there is some identity politics, but it's nothing major to me. The acting could be a little bit better, but it does bring a very nostalgic original trilogy feel to me. It makes me feel like a little kid, which is saying something. I haven't felt that way about Star Wars since I saw the original movies. But yeah, I think they're on the right track. If they could just continue to just do something very similar, I think it could pull us all back in. I am still up and down if I'm going to see the actually new movie. I saw The Last Jedi, and anger is an understatement. Because growing up with Star Wars, so it's going to take a lot, and I don't know if The Mandalorian is going to do it, but it is on the right track in my opinion. Very nostalgic. Jon Favreau has done a great job of kind of bringing nostalgia back into it and making it fun again, for me at least.
Well, he worked his magic. Let's give him credit where credit is due. He's worked his magic on the Orville, so he seems to have. Again, I haven't watched The Mandalorian. It's very hard to get over here, but I did find a place where I might be able to watch the whole lot, and I have to check and see if I can actually watch them. But it does look like, from what I've heard, the reviews have been pretty positive for this. So
I am pleasantly surprised, and I have to say this, but I almost had like little tears in my eyes. It really made me feel like a kid. And it's more than just Baby Yoda. It's just a very, it's a specific thing, but it does give a lot of nods to the original trilogy. So I feel like if they could just harness that, then they could possibly, maybe do some other films on different characters in the Star Wars universe that may work. But for a television show, it's decent. You definitely won't be disappointed. I really thought I would be. I thought I'd be underwhelmed, but I'm actually more like excited about it.
And yeah, Blue Bonnet, Hoovian, and you're only halfway through, but actually it does get really good near the end. I won't give any spoilers, but it really picks up in the second half of the season.
Well, good. I have something to look forward to now. It's good when you have something that you actually look forward to watching for a change.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had that. Well, there's the Orville, which is... Yeah, I guess you were touching on that. Although you guys, I thought you got that in the UK. Wasn't it on, didn't Sky or somebody pick it up?
What, The Mandalorian?
No, you're talking about the Orville.
Oh, no, we can watch the Orville. No, I was saying we haven't watched The Mandalorian yet.
Oh, yeah, no, so you're talking, oh, yeah, that's right, because you guys didn't get Disney
Orville,
Plus.
Yeah. I've watched the 2 series of the Orville. I've actually matured in Series 2, in my opinion. Series 1, you could see it was fine in its feet. But Series 2, I thought they struck the balance very well between the jokes and the serious nature of it. I mean, it was pretty violent as well when Kelly and what's his name were in that prison. Bortis were in that prison. Do you remember with the star sign one?
Yeah.
Where they had the wrong star sign. That was a great episode.
The Orville does get very dark.
It does,
It initially kind of positioned itself for what we thought when we watched the season premiere. It was going to be Family Guy in space as a Star Trek parody. But no, there are some really dark episodes. And I think there's a 2-parter in season 2 called Identity, which I would say is up there with some of the best Star Trek that's ever been on air. So it's what I like about the Orville is it's more balanced and based in reality than Star Trek is. Where Star Trek, humanity is generally portrayed as this perfect civilization, whatever you want to call it. Whereas in the Orville, you see more of the flaws. It's closer to Deep Space Nine. And there wasn't a lot of, what you'd call just regular workplace humor in the Star Trek franchise, where the way people talk on the Orville, I find it just more centered in how we would deal with things today. So I'm enjoying it. And although it sucks because it's moving to Hulu and we don't get Hulu in Canada, so I'm not sure where.
It was on Fox, correct? It was a Fox show.
Yeah. And I think it was probably Disney's choice, but it's being moved to Hulu, which we've been waiting to get for like 5 years.
I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet. I kind of missed the mark, and didn't TiVo it.
I mean, it's.
I like the original '60s Star Trek. I'm kind of a purist, so it looks like something I might enjoy. So I may.
The 4 series is hilarious. It has some hilarious moments, but there is some heartwarming moments, and there actually is some. There's moral dilemma in it as well. What I like about the Orville is right. See Doctor Who. Doctor Who's trying to do something, right? The Orville actually does a spot on, right? When you want to talk about identity politics or you want to do something about gender, just look at how the Orville addresses it. And if Doctor Who wants to achieve the same thing, well, then they should look at the Orville as their inspiration, because I think the Orville has so far handled it very well. I mean, we've had the episode about the baby changing gender. We've had the ratings episode like the Chinese do, the downgrading and the upgrading the citizens. They've dealt with issues like that. They've just dealt with the issue with Alara when it came to strength and men, the sexist, but it's the way it dealt with these issues on the Orville. Now, if Doctor Who took that route, I don't think we would have a problem, because it would be done properly. So, Chris Chibnall, if you're listening, go and watch the Orville, you sap, and then you'll know how to write your bloody TV show properly.
Or at least go back to the classic time when it was more well-rounded with the political things, when it was in.
Yeah, or even go back to as recently as early Stephen Moffat.
Yeah, even then, and that's we thought early that was
Moffat.
bad.
That's what I mean. Early Moffat is good. Moffat is good. Late Moffat just went crazy.
It was the beginning of the end with the best Doctor, which is what really
at this
sucks.
point, late Moffat would be better than what we got now. So
yeah,
I would actually take season 24 over what we have right now. And until this era, I'd always considered that to be the nadir of Doctor Who's entire existence. But no, those 4 stories are a work of brilliance by comparison.
Yeah. I mean,
the 2 Doctors is brilliant.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
We've had this discussion.
Comparatively.
Sorry, Noel. I like the 2 Doctors. You'll never convince me otherwise.
No, I can't believe you made it. Well, I had to watch that a second time, and the first time was bad enough.
Yeah,
we did the review thing, but
I mean, don't get me wrong. Pat Troughton was fantastic in it. Colin Baker didn't irritate me as much, but I could never get on board with his Doctor, and I'm sorry, I still can't.
I like season 22 because at least J&T was trying to do something different. He wanted to give us a much darker interpretation on the show, which I appreciate. So I don't know, maybe if you come at it from that perspective, but the Colin Baker era has always been controversial. Nothing like what we see right now, but and the man kind of went off. I love Colin Baker, but he kind of went off his rocker when Jodie Whittaker was cast. But I don't know. It's season 23. Yeah, it has some issues, but season 22, it's an acquired taste. But if you look at it and see what they were doing, where they were trying to give you a darker, gorier, grittier version of Doctor Who, it works. And that's one of the reasons why it was put on hiatus, because Michael Grade, who hated the show anyway, but also thought it was starting to get too violent.
That was nothing.
Well, not compared to now.
Yeah, now it's just like, Okay.
Paul is definitely not a fan of the two doctors there.
Yeah.
The two doctors is pure filth. And Stephen Cassidy says you haven't lived. Where is it? There you go. You haven't lived until you've watched Series 24.
Yep. That was another experiment too. JNT decided to go the absurdist route, which they are absurd when you look at all four of those stories. And then Andrew Cartnell righted the ship the season after that when he actually was able to have some input. And that's when we got season 25 and season 26, which I think is an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah. I mean, the classic Who still, still puts a smile on my face. You see, every time I watch it, I get depressed. I get depressed because I look at what's being produced now, and it's nowhere even. It doesn't touch the classic era, let alone the new Who era. I mean, it's. I'm sorry, it's one of the worst series eras I've ever came across. I just hope Series 12, for the show's sake, I hope it is an improvement. But after what Jodie Whittaker has just come out with Chris Chibnall, I doubt it.
It was a message to us, Noel, well, people like us, where it's, if you think this is going to change, this isn't going to change. That article, that interview, that was calculated and that was done on purpose, and that was a direct middle finger to people like us.
Yeah.
Well, all that says to me is that they don't get my money. They're going to insult me, and with that, then guess what? The money goes away. That's what's going to happen.
It's okay. It's okay. Fans hopefully will hit them in the ratings. For actually talking about the ratings, BBC have actually finally acknowledged that they are a bit worried about how the show how viewers dropped off during the series. Now that is a big omission because they've been telling us all for the last year that they haven't been worried, and that people that have been coming out and saying that we're worried are actually lying. Well, they've actually come out and actually admitted that they are a bit concerned about their drop in ratings. Now, talking Skyfall's 2 days away. What would be, in your guys' opinion, what would be good ratings opener for the very first episode of Spyfall? Now, let's remember the woman who fell to Earth opened up with 10.98 million people watching. Just under 11 million people watched our first series episode. How many do you think will tune in for her first episode of her second series? Who would like to take that first?
8 million.
Yvette is saying 8 million. Okay.
I've just pulled up the ratings here on Wikipedia. I'm just going to compare it to second seasons from the previous 3 Doctors.
Right.
Okay, so for Capaldi, so we'll look at this. So compared to The Magician's Apprentice, so that had 6.54, and that was considered a downgrade. For Matt Smith, Series 6, Impossible Astronaut came in at 8.86. Let's Kill Hitler, which was really the second premiere that season, came in at 8.10. David Tennant, it wouldn't even come close to that. But Smith and Jones, 8.71. A good rating for this one. Well, let's compare this to Series 12. So The Woman Who Fell to Earth, 10.96. There is a steady drop. The series finale, which normally you would see a rise, which you didn't, came in at 6.65. Resolution, which was a special, which should have been the highest rated of the year, came in slightly higher at 7.13. You have to take a few factors into consideration. One is the normies might find it interesting. They might check it out for the first episode. Yeah. It is on New Year's Day, but that didn't pan out very well last year. But you also have to take into account the alienation of so many fans that will not watch this. And that article, because Whittaker and Chips were there, the BBC would have had to approve that. So they actually sabotaged their own show. I would think best case scenario, maybe 7 million. Worst case scenario, it depends on how angry people are, and people are angry. It could be a series low, where series low that was during Peter Capaldi's final season, which was Empress of Mars, or actually no, A World Enough in Time was the series low at 5 million. I think worst case. Oh, actually, no. Sorry. 4.89. The Lie of the Land is the series low. I think potentially, if it's a disaster and if people are angry enough, I think it could perform under 4.
Yeah, Stephen Cassidy says
really
on Digital Spy they're saying 8 million, but I think 5. Well, this is what I think.
Yeah.
Personally speaking, like Ballstreck, I will take a couple of factors into account. People will be interested in seeing this episode just to see how it pans out. I think the second episode and the third episode will be far more interesting ratings-wise, because then that's when we'll see what this audience actually thinks of this series. Because if we get a steep drop-off, then there's no hope for this series. Some people are saying 7.5. A couple have said 8. Some have quoted 5, as you have said there, Stephen. For me, best case scenario, 5.5 million, 5.5 million to watch the first one. I know that's a bit low, but I'm taking in resolution into account, and it's been a year since that episode, so we've had nothing. So the fans haven't really had that to get excited about, and there is no excitement for this series at all. Actually, it's quite non-existent. It's so non-existent that Mr. Tardis Reviews actually kind of did a bit of a hate video of his own just to get his algorithm running.
Oh, is that the one where I play a Dalek?
Yeah, that's the one where he puts you in. And actually, he used the wrong thing when you used that line when you were talking about Rosa. So he actually used that clip, the clip that you're talking about Rosa, as part of the Dalek scene in his video, because nobody is watching his videos. So he needed to use Ballstreck, because Ballstreck, over 40,000 subscribers. So he thought that might pull in a few interesting spectators onto his video. But it was a pathetic attempt to try justify resolution as an episode. And if you actually watch his video, it's quite hilarious, because on one hand, he's basically saying that the episode was shit, but on the other hand, he's defending it every way possible. And he even says, by the way, his best line was, the best part of this is when Jodie Whittaker, her compelling acting when she's addressing the Dalek, and she's calling the Dalek a mate. Well, if that's the way if that's compelling viewing for you, well then, do you know what? You're definitely not a fan. You're not a fan of Doctor Who. Never were a fan of Doctor Who, because if you think that was actually a stellar performance, or was most compelling, I'll tell you what was compelling. Dalek, right? When Christopher Eccleston was stuck in that little room with the Dalek, that was compelling viewing. Right? When Matt Smith made his speech, right, to the when he was on Stonehenge, that was compelling. When Peter Capaldi did his speech during the Zygon Inversion episodes, that speech, that was compelling, right? Nothing that Jodie Whittaker did in Series 11 was compelling. You're just a BBC shill, and they're paying you to talk good about this series. And you know yourself it's shit, because even when you're talking in your videos, you're trying so hard to convince yourself that this era was actually good. Why don't you do yourself a favor, mate, and actually grow a set of balls and have a bit of pride and actually come out and actually say how bad this series was, because you know it was bad. You know it was bad, and every J-bot out there, you know it was bad. Because you know how we know it was bad? Because you've all steadily walked away from it. Not just Doctor Who fans, but you fans too. Do you think it went from 10.97 or whatever Ballstrecker said, it went to 5 point whatever it was for resolution, that fans were still happy with this era? You're living on cloud 9, right? So for me, it finished at 5.7. If it manages to get that the same numbers for Resolution, I'll be very surprised. I'm being honest. I'd actually be very surprised if it gets the same numbers as Resolution. Right? I actually think this is going to dip under 3 by the end of this series.
Well,
That's how.
the third
That's
episode.
Dalek. That Dalek was an abomination.
I'm sorry for the rant, but I'm just sick and tired.
I don't believe in rants, Noel. I've never ranted in my life. I'm always perfectly happy. So yeah, shame on you, dude. We don't do rants. We're always happy.
Well, I'm just sick and tired of these idiots defending this series when you can see in their own videos they're trying to justify it to themselves. Just be honest with yourself, mate. Just be honest. You know what? Then you'd probably get respect in this community. But no, you want to be a BBC shill. So fair enough.
It's just all about defending the gender swap.
Well, here's the thing.
That's really what it is.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, right? We won't be only just talking about Doctor Who Series 12, right? We're going to have idiots like him come after us now, Jordan Series 12, with their little hit pieces, right? So, you know what I say? Bring it on. Bring it on. That's what I say. Bring it on. I look forward to it. And I have seen Derry Girls, Paul, and it's absolutely fantastic show. And if you haven't seen it, I know I've changed subject a little bit, but thanks for doing that, Paul. Paul puts in these little things to kind of change the subject.
I watched that recently, and I completely enjoyed it. It was such a good show.
Great show. It's about a bunch of girls in Northern Ireland. It's hilarious. It's sad. It's got heartwarming moments.
Wait, which show is that, Noel?
It's called The Derry Girls.
Okay, yeah, that's on Netflix. Okay, yeah. I might check that out.
Yeah, you should watch it, Ballstreck. I know for a fact you'll enjoy it. They're every single one of them are brilliant. The acting is superb. And without giving anything away, it can hit the heartstrings. You know, there's some because it's based in Northern Ireland in Derry, obviously, because it's called The Derry Girls. So it's not going to be just sugar coated.
It takes place in the 90s, doesn't it? Or early 90s? Yeah.
Yeah, early 90s. Fabulous. It's brilliant. Seriously. When Cheryl suggested that at first, I'm not watching that. Oh, her dad suggested it. And then she says to me, do you want to watch it? And you know, I'm one of these people. It's very hard to get me to watch a new show because once I hear anything negative about it, it's kind of hard to get me to watch it. I'd really have to be bored to watch it. But when she suggested it, and she wouldn't let it go, so just to go on, put the first episode on. So she put the first episode on. We ended up watching the whole series.
Yeah, I have to admit, I passed over that one for months and months and months, and then because you said you watched it, I'm like, well, if he's watching it, it's got to be good. So, and I highly really enjoyed it. I binged them. I think I binged all of them in one day.
Yeah, same as myself. Brilliant. And I'd recommend this seriously. And I don't really watch too many new shows, but when one is suggested and it's actually better than what I actually thought, then yeah, and it's I don't want to say nothing, but it is worth a watch. And if you do watch a Ballstrecker or anybody else, let me know and we'll do a review if you want of it, because I think it's worth reviewing, and I actually think it's worth having the spotlight on. It's a show that we should really get behind.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've kept passing by too, but I'll check it out. I don't know. I bypass a lot of the new stuff on Netflix now just because most of it is crap. So I'll pick the occasional episode of something that looks like it might be good, and then I get halfway through and I just say to hell with it. But I will probably power up my Netflix for the first time in at least a month, and yeah, I'm going to give that a watch.
I've been on Netflix for about 4 months.
No. What was the last thing you watched?
On Netflix? Oh my god, American Horror Story.
We don't even, and we don't get. I actually like American Horror Story. We don't get that on Netflix Canada.
No?
I actually, because I got rid of my cable, the only way I can legally watch them is wait for the DVD set to come out, which is what I've done with the past few seasons. I haven't watched 1984 at all.
Roanoke was brilliant.
I love Roanoke.
That is one of the best seasons, and it's so underrated too.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible.
I like Cult as well because it was political, but it looked at both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I loved about Cult, because it wasn't just a progressive view or a conservative view. It kind of made fun of both equally, which is great.
Or wait, no, it wasn't Cult. Cult was season 3. Was the election one? What was it called?
Yeah, it was Cult.
Yeah,
Was
that
it
was
Cult?
cool.
Yeah, it
Wait,
was
yeah,
Cult.
I'm thinking Coven. I don't know. I think I'm
Coven.
too
I
tired.
mean, Kevin was okay too.
Yeah.
No, I was
I
confusing the
did
names,
like
but yeah,
Freak
Cult was
Show.
what I was talking about.
Freak Show was scary.
There was moments. I'm just the clown thing doesn't scare me. I mean,
Oh, I
No.
don't like clowns. I don't like clowns.
And I still haven't finished Hotel to this day.
Well,
It's
that's
awful.
hard work. It's hard work, Hotel.
look,
I've
I'm
tried
sorry,
twice.
Lady Gaga is just, to me, she's not a good actress. But
No.
Oh, that'd be controversial now.
No,
That's
it's not.
controversial.
I completely agree with that.
I
Actually,
think
there.
there's worse.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
think
Noel.
there's worse out there. I just said I think there's worse pop stars that have turned actresses or actors.
that's true.
I mean,
Yeah, of course.
Rihanna is bad.
Yeah.
I don't think she's good. I haven't seen the new Cats movie, but apparently it's going to be the worst movie of the decade, and it was only released.
It's already in the running for one of the worst movies of all time.
Yeah,
And with Geely and Battlefield Earth and Plan 9 from Outer Space, that's quite the achievement.
Wow, that is.
And Netflix Lost in Space, incredible production values for TV, very woke though. Now I will say something about Lost. I'm going to defend Lost in Space here, right? Some people have said they don't like the fact that they changed Dr. Smith, right? Now you've got to look at it from this context, right? In the Hollywood that we're in now, where there has been abuse of women in Hollywood, and not just abuses of women, but abuses of kids, it would have looked a bit strange in today's society to have a man play a creepy Dr. Smith. So I can understand why the gender swapped the role to a woman. And let's be honest, I actually think she's a psychopath. She's brilliant, actually.
She's
the
grown on
story-
me.
The stories themselves are actually not bad. There's some
No,
good
the stories are
concepts
really
there.
good.
Yeah, there's some good concepts. And you know what? That ended, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but that ending blew me away. And I'm just going to say, right, I've been a fan of the original Lost in Space TV show. I love the robot in it. I love Will Robinson. I love everything about that original show, right? The TV movie, obviously with Matt LeBlanc, it was a pile of horse crap. But I still watch it. It's one of those kind of cult classics for me. It's so terribly bad, but I'd still watch it because it does have Matt LeBlanc in it. He's not the greatest actor in the world, but I do rate him. He's still he's a solid actor, but the script was bad. But this TV show, I'm being honest, is good. And as I said, it doesn't matter what TV show you watch now or movie, you're going to have some political agenda in it. It's whether it's going to be in your face or not is the way I look at it. And Lost in Space, I'm being honest with you, the stories are far more interesting. Yet there's little political things going on, but the stories are very interesting, and that's what's keeping me hooked. Now, Series
If
2
you can
has
look
already
past the
dropped. Yeah.
if you can look past the characters, I mean, some of the characters, like the mom, she's abrasive to me.
Yeah, I don't like the mom in it.
But once you get past that, it to me, and my husband talked me into this because I didn't really want to watch it, but I started watching it, and it's very interesting. The stories are well written. I mean, you just want to see how they're going to get out of this next situation. It just captures your attention. So
Paul makes the point there. Lost in Space is good. I don't like the soft husband being soft. Other than that, it's a good show. But you see, I can understand that from the context, right? Because she's bitter because he's never around with the kids, right? Because he's off doing military, because he can't handle the fact that he actually has a family and whatever, right? Now, I know that'll drive some people up the wall, but he's come back into their lives basically without giving anything away. And he's trying to make an effort. And she's obviously is being snipey. But during that series, you could see that they do develop that, and they do kind of see eye to eye near the end of series 1. Now, I haven't seen series 2. I don't know if she's up again. But by the end of series 1, I felt that they came to some sort of understanding. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I heard it, I haven't finished it, but he said it gets better. So I'm gonna keep soldiering on. So
I think it's good. I think it's worth a watch. It's just as I said, and I don't know if you agree with me about it, but I just think now you kind of have to make an informed decision yourself when you're watching these TV shows. You have to kind of say to yourself, well, where do you draw the line with all this SJW stuff? But the way I look at it is now is if the writing is far superior than what they're trying, the message they're trying to convey, well then I'll watch the show because the characters are actually interesting. As you said with the Mandalorian, the characters you're actually getting invested in. I'm actually invested in the Will Robinson character. I'm actually invested in the robot, and that's a piece of technology. Even the robot, the same with the robot in it. I don't know if you've gotten that far, but I won't say it. But that's just epic. I just I just love everything about it. That robot is just.
I mean, I actually like the fact that they kind of changed. And a lot of people don't, but I like the fact that they kind of made the robot look a little bit more like more of a modern take. Of course, I'm in that case, there's some things you shouldn't change, but that was actually a good change.
Yeah. The robot design is actually very good. Ballstrek, I'll ask you: have you actually watched and you've Lost in Space? Or have you actually heard anything about Lost in Space yourself or read up anything about Lost in Space?
It has been on my watch list for a while. I haven't actually watched it yet, though. I might check it out.
Look, all I will say is there is interesting concepts in it. I'm not going to say it totally there's no wokeness in it. Of course there is. There's a little bit. But I think I haven't seen The Mandalorian, but I'd say it'd be Mandalorian level kind of stuff in it. The writing is very interesting. The characters are very interesting. Even Dr. Smith's character, even though she's a bat nutcase, you do kind of root for her in some of the series. Do you know what I mean? Like you do root for some of these characters, and I think that's where it's got me. Because I'm rooting for these characters, because I'm emotionally invested in some of the characters, and I want to see how they progress. And that's what
exactly. That's good character development.
Yeah.
And I think that even if you start out like I wasn't happy with the gender. I'll be honest, I was not happy that the fact that they gender swapped the Dr. Smith, and I wasn't a total Lost in Space fanatic when I was a kid, but I liked it. But as I've watched the next episode, I realize, I'm kind of enjoying her portrayal now. So I think that's good writing. I think that's just how you should do it. Like example would be Nardole from Doctor Who. I didn't care for him at first, but as it progressed, I actually started enjoying, his, how he portrayed the role. So, I think that is something that, you're not always going to love every single character their first go, and you just have to keep on and seeing how it develops.
Yeah, I actually like the dad in it. I'm like you.
I do too.
The mother. I don't like the mother as much, but there is parts of her where she actually, comes through, and I'm like, yeah, she's good in the crisis sort of thing.
Right.
I will say one thing, Ballstrek, and Blue Bonnet will agree with me on this one. Instead of the father being the authoritative figure in this family, it's the mother. But it is explained that he's away all the time on duty, so he's basically military. But he has chosen to stay away himself. Now, I know people say, but you're writing another bad father again. But he does get the chance in this, unlike so many other franchises out there. He does get a chance to make amends, and he does try and make amends with his family. He knows. And look, let's be honest, there is some fathers out there that would do that. This is not a made-up thing. There would be fathers that would rather, they can't handle being at home. They'd rather be in the military because they're so used to that. That can happen. So, I mean, it's not anything that doesn't happen in real life. So I can kind of deal with it once he gets the chance, and which he does. He gets the chance to kind of make amends. And I like the dad in it. I mean, and the little kid for Will Robinson was a great choice. Blue Bonnet.
I enjoy him. I like the character of Penny too. She's an interesting character.
Yeah, she's going to be interesting. Everybody keeps telling me that Series 2 ended brilliant. And Spitfire Mark 1A says, Lost in Space, the budget must be huge It looks better than most modern films. Series 2 ended well. You all keep telling me that Series 2 ended well. Now you want me to. Oh no!
I have to finish. I have to hurry up and finish now. Finish Series 1 so I can start.
I know. I just want to see if it's even better than Series 1, and if it is, I'm gonna continue watching it because, I want a new TV show to watch.
Like I said, it's nice to be excited about something for a change.
And I still have to watch The Expanse, and everybody keeps telling me, and Ballstreck actually recommended this last year.
Yeah, I love The Expanse.
And Gary even said it to me again. The Expanse.
Yeah, it's obviously different than Lost in Space. It's much more serious, but it is an experience, and yeah. I love season 4. It's kind of mixed, but I actually quite enjoyed it. I was not bored 1 second.
See, I still have to watch season 4. I plan on marathoning it all in one day, probably next week before I go back to.
That's what I did, and then I was sad because now we got to wait.
They should have dropped it one a week rather than dumping the whole thing like that.
I agree. I think that it would be in their best interest to do that.
Are you going to do reviews of it, Ballstreck, or are you just going to watch it yourself and just enjoy it?
Depends on if I have time, because my non-YouTube life becomes insane in terms of my day job starting in January. So I may only have time to do one, at the most 2 videos a week. So one of them is obviously going to be Doctor Who, the weekly reviews, and the other one might be a live stream. So a lot of things that I want to cover, I'm probably going to have to sacrifice, which sucks, but it is what it is.
Let me see. Lost in Space Series 2 is better than Series 1.
Grimm is brilliant.
Really enjoyed watching that with the family. Yeah. Grimm, I haven't actually watched that.
Fantastic, Grimm.
I
keep being told that,
Fun facts first. What's the fun fact? Cheryl has a list of movies she has been wanting to watch. Guess who only managed to get 2 choices in this year?
Oh,
okay. Yeah, but all your movies are all like Grease 2 and like Grease.
Did she make you watch? Did she make you watch that again?
No, Cheryl wouldn't make me watch Grease 2. She knows how I feel about Grease 2.
That's an awful movie. I'm sorry.
I know it is an awful movie, but that's Cheryl's taste anyway, No
offense, Cheryl. You have some good taste in things, just not Grease 2.
Yeah, but you know what they say, as she says, and it is actually true. It's so bad, it's become a cult classic. So it kind of has. So, but it's
look, nothing as bad as Troll 2. If you've ever seen that show. You can even
that's a classic. It
is a classic, but I'm just saying it's so bad it's good.
And it's Cats might be worse.
Wow. That is really bad.
Apparently it's giving kids nightmares.
Yeah, apparently Cheryl actually read me out. Cheryl, have you got those? Do you remember those reviews?
I can pull them up.
Will you pull them up and I'll read it? Seriously, some of these are funny, right?
Well, so people are seeing it. They're just dumbfounded. Well, I know Gary Nerdrotic, his wife made him go see it last week. So I'm looking forward to his review. I've been trying to convince the Critical Drinker to go see it because that would be an awesome review. But the reactions are people don't know what to say about this. And you can just look at the trailer. I'm like, it actually almost looks like a horror movie. It's like the Banana Splits remake, but without the fun.
Was that a good movie? Did you watch that?
Oh, I did. It is so over the top. It is awesome. Well,
is it Bubba Hotep good, or is it Troll 2 bad good?
No. It's not Troll 2 bad good. It's enjoyable.
Okay.
I'd say it's more Bubba Hotep. The whole premise was, okay, let's buy this obscure kids cartoon franchise that ran for like 3 years in the 60s and 70s, and let's turn it into a horror movie. So the concept itself is just so balmy and out there. And the funny thing is, I picked up the Blu-ray. They had it in the kids section at Walmart.
Oh my God. Okay.
But it is worth watching. Like, don't expect something serious. And The funny thing is there is wokeness in the movie, but I think they're actually making fun of it because it's way too over the top to be taken seriously. But no, it's the movie. It's ridiculous, but it is worth watching. Just because it's ridiculous. It's very self-aware. I'll put it that way.
We're talking about the Banana Splits movie.
Oh, thank you. Noel just shoved me on the phone or on the computer and was like, read your reviews. And I'm like, I don't think they're talking about that anymore.
Oh, no, we're talking about comparisons. But yes, Cheryl reviewed. I am interested.
That the person said, he likes his ending or something.
Okay, no, shush. There's really several. One was, I no longer have a will to live. That's it. That's the review. I no longer have a will to live. This ruined movies, music, and animals for me. Honestly, the fact that it was made by humans ruined people in general for me. If I see one more advertisement for this godforsaken movie, I fear for my own safety. What is it? This is what I see during sleep paralysis. My own cat looks at me in shame. My own cat looks at me in shame now. This film has single-handedly destroyed my relationship with my pet. I prayed for the first time in decades. What a disaster. I'm not a praying man, but I was praying so hard for this movie to end. From the first minute I knew this movie was going to be a disaster. What a waste of talented actors. I used to be a wholeheartedly Christian mother. I then watched this movie and became an atheist. No loving God would put us on a planet with the likes of this. My body and soul were just not ready for what I witnessed. People are just like, keep a good stack of holy water around if you want to watch it. And someone said, I love my cat. I love my cat more than anything. I watched this movie and actually wanted to punch my cat. So I feel like people are taking it very, very intensely upsetting.
Wow.
No, so the highest like legitimate review that didn't sound like just as crap, it actually gave some points. I think gave it a 3, and then I think there were maybe a grand total of the 4 or 5 that were like 8, 9 or 10s of like it was the greatest movie ever in the history of movies. Every other movie, and it was their very first review. Like
it's about bots, in other words.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, like it was an average of I think it's right now it's like maybe 2.6 out of 10.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, and
really
I love the musical Cats. I am that dork. I have seen Cats numerous times. I can't get through the trailer. It just literally heaves me out.
Yeah, I tried to watch it. I had to turn it off. I had to turn the trailer off. I couldn't even watch the trailer.
When I was back home, the trailer came on, and I like ran in front of my kitties. I'm like, hide your eyes, my babies. You can't see this. It's very upsetting. Okay, I got kicked off. Bye, all.
Bye.
So there you go. Some of the reviews for Cats. Hilarious. The one where the person said they wanted to punch that cat.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Some people, I haven't seen The Witcher, so this is actually going to be another debate show. Some people like it, and some people are giving out about swapping certain characters.
Yeah.
I don't know. Has anybody here on the panel seen The Witcher?
Yeah, I've watched all of it.
Right.
I watched all of it.
Is it any what's any good?
Henry Cavill does an excellent job.
Right.
Yes, and there is some switching of the characters. There's a lot of debate because a lot of people debate that they're basing the characters off the book, which I haven't read. And some people say it should be based off the video games. But honestly, for me, all the actors do excellent jobs. To me, I didn't see a whole lot of identity politics in it. It's fun. It's a fun show. It doesn't take itself too seriously. But Henry Cavill, I mean, I loved it. I didn't expect to, but I got sucked in, and I absolutely loved it. And I had no problem with the swapping because the acting was good. The actors that they chose, even if they it was the race swapping. One of the characters is supposed to be white, and she's black, but to me she's just a side character, so it didn't affect me. You know, I guess other people are much more offended by it, but it didn't bother me. The actor that they chose was excellent. So,
Right. Anybody else on the panel saying The Witcher?
I've been saying this a lot, but yeah, it's on my ever-growing list. I'm gonna have a fun January. I'm bad for this. Where even with I have DVDs and Blu-rays I bought years ago that I keep intending to watch, but never have. So I'm like that with TV shows too. But it is one that I will definitely watch. I have enough time for the Banana Splits movie, but not enough for all these great shows.
I just don't have time. I have to be really selective with what I watch.
Yeah, well, that's my situation too, where it's like I have 2 hours. Okay, what do I want to watch? And then next thing I know, I've spent it watching random crap on YouTube.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what it is. That's what happens to me as well. But you see, the thing is, you've got so much. I will say one thing: there is so much choice out there, but you kind of have to sift through the rubbish and try get those little gems. I mean, for example, a show that's actually been forgotten completely for me, which I actually thought was very good, was Swamp Thing, and of course they pulled the plug on that. But that show was actually very good, and it's just kind of disappeared into oblivion, and I'm actually very surprised. I'm surprised fans haven't kept up the chat for it, because I'm giving it a plug again, because if you haven't watched the Swamp Thing, that's another one. And Ballstrek, I know you said you're going to put it on your list. It's probably still on your list.
Well, since it's over, that one's lower on the list now.
You will definitely have to watch it, though. It's well worth a watch. I think people will be pleasantly surprised. Now, I will say this. I know nothing about the Swamp Thing. I did hear of the Swamp Thing, if I remember correctly, unless it's a Mandela effect. But I remember a Swamp Thing cartoon. Now, I could be wrong.
It was a film. It was a film, a horror film.
Oh, was it? Right. Okay. Well, then there you go.
I mean, they had a film in the 80s. The actress, she was in The Fog, but I don't know about cartoon.
Well, I haven't read any of the comics or anything like that, so I didn't know anything about characters being changed or anything like that. So I went into it totally blind. And I have to say, it was one of the best shows that I've watched in a long, long time. I said it. I mean, even... the reveal is brilliant. There's a bit of horror element. There's a bit of, as I said, voodoo. It's violent. The story is just brilliant. It's brilliant. Cheryl watched it as well with me, didn't you? You watched the Swamp Thing with me, didn't you?
Yeah, but we haven't.
We haven't seen the end. I have, because she hasn't seen the end. I watched the whole series before I watched it with you. What you talking about?
They weren't all released. You told me to. Oh.
I just let the cat out of the bag. I watched the whole lot. Like, I also watched the whole lot. Well, I wasn't going to wait for you to watch it. I wanted to watch it. So, yeah, I was actually very impressed. So, yeah, I would suggest that as well. So, if you haven't watched it, watch it. It's worth watching. Right, 2 days to Spyfall. We might as well, for the few more minutes that we have left. 2 days to Spyfall. Well, actually, 1 day here. But a couple of days to Spyfall. What are your hopes, guys? What are you hoping to see? Is anybody 2 days away excited yet? Because I can tell you right now, I have zero excitement.
Zero.
Less than zero. I've given up on the show. Maybe I'll have the goat review this one.
Oh, yeah, you really do need to do that.
Oh, I miss the goat.
Oh, he's coming back. He triggers more people than my regular videos, so I've lots of fun with the goat. He is going to review one episode this season, just because it will make people mad.
A very, very, very sexy goat, Bastard.
Oh, yes. He's on vacation now, but he's coming back. He makes my dog jealous.
Aww.
Although Lexi does have her videos on my channel. It's been several years, but she actually had her own little series on there for a while. The Adventures of Lexi the Husky. Oh yeah, we got sidetracked there, didn't we?
Yeah.
No, I've written off the show as far as I'm concerned. Doctor Who ended in 2017. This garbage is not Doctor Who. Like I said, pigs could fly in a freezing over hell, and it could actually be better. It will never win me back, but I don't think it's going to be better. And I think that article was an indication of what we're in for. So I'm looking forward to reviewing it. I'm looking forward to watching other YouTubers' videos on it because it's going to be hilarious. But the show itself, honestly, I prefer watching Woke Batman because that I can at least laugh.
Bad.
Yeah. Well, we will be doing panels, obviously, here. I've already got 2 permanent panelists that will be coming on, and then obviously then we'll be bringing other guests on as well with those panelists, and we will be discussing the episode maybe an hour after the episode has dropped to give everybody a bit of time to take a few notes if they want to take a few notes. People that will be joining me on the panel, and you guys as well, the ones that are obviously going to be watching, and we will have obviously a fun time on this channel talking about it. Do you know what though? I will say this. I know some people believe the show is finished. I'm starting to believe that myself, and I know this article doesn't look too good, and I know I'm saying a lot of ifs and buts and maybes here, but I just hope that they can surprise us, right? And not surprise us in a bad way, but actually surprise us in a good way, because you know what? Whether we deserve something decent. We haven't had art since 2017 that has made us happy. Now, I know some people don't like Series 10. That's fair. Series 10 has its moments. I think it does have some standout stories, but of course, by that stage, Moffat didn't really give a shit. Let's be honest. But Peter Capaldi's acting is just far superior than that we're getting now. I would just like to see something of an improvement, but that's this article is really at the throne. I really had high hopes. Well, not high hopes. I was going into this a little bit optimistic. Now I'm back to square one. I'm terrified.
I actually think, right, the first 2 episodes are going to be great stories.
Right.
Forget the acting, because that's going to drag it down. But the actual stories are going to be very good.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about the whole 007 stuff. I think that's just disgraceful.
Well, this is what I've heard. It's not really spoiler news. Now, I have to be careful because obviously I did get a copyright strike. So this is what I've heard from the episode. Now, I'm not giving anything away here, so there's no spoilers. But what I will say is the reviews, some reviews have come in, and this is the indication. It's a pretty average opening, but right, this is what I've read. I've read 2 different reviews. It's an average open, and then this person says that the cliffhanger will be satisfying. Then on the other hand, another person comes out and says that the story is a bit messy, and the ending will leave you saying, what just happened here? So there's 2 different different types of reviews going on there. This is the thing. I'm not going to be listening to any reviews from any media outlets, right?
No.
The only one.
I will probably be making fun of them.
Same here. Same here as I did last year. But at the end of the day, I won't be listening to anything they say. The only way I will find out how good or bad this show is when I watch it myself and review it myself. Right now, I will say to people that do listen to this channel, if you're not going to watch Series 12, that is fine, fair enough, and you're welcome here to listen to these reviewers. The thing about it is, and I will say this, if you're not going to watch, but you're going to slate Series 12 and you haven't watched 1 second of it, well, then your opinion is not really valid, in my opinion. And I'm sorry, but it's not. I'm not encouraging people to watch it. I would say boycott it. But let us, the likes of myself, Ballstrek, Gary, all of those other YouTubers out there that are going to review it. There's no point you getting involved in arguments with people on the internet and saying how shit Series 12 is if you haven't watched it. Just say you're boycotting the show, and that's good enough. And I am encouraging people to boycott this series, because let's be honest, the only way we're going to get BBC to listen to us at this stage, because they've already proved now, especially with this article, that they don't really give a shit, is by boycotting it, is by getting the ratings down so low that they'll have to actually address it, because this is the only way now that this is going to be stopped. I thought I'm being honest with you, I still believe Jodie Whittaker will leave. I don't think she will leave after series 12. I do think the latest rumor that I have heard is they're going to get her in the first 2 episodes of series 13 and she'll regenerate there. I hope that is true. I really do, because I do believe she stays on along with Chris Chibnall. We're finished. Chris Chibnall is the bigger culprit here, but he's going to hang on, because like all good snakes do, they always manage, or leeches as they say, they manage to hang on, and he has managed to hang on. Maybe Jodie Whittaker will be used as a scapegoat. He will save his job, and they will blame her for the bad. And it's not her fault. Look, she was out of her depth. She has said things that have infuriated the fandom. But at the end of the day, she should never have been given the job in the first place, because this was way above her pay grade. And I'm sorry to the J-bots out there, he might like that, but that is the reality of the situation. This show was above her pay grade, and she should never have been given it. And Chris Chibnall should never put her in that position. And for that, he should be ashamed of himself. He should be ashamed of his writing team and himself. He calls himself a fan. No fan would have wrote that shite. Fans write better. Yep. And Ballstrick, you had on recently, you had on what's his name from the guys that did the long game.
You're talking Chris McGann?
Yeah,
from Black Glove Studio.
Yeah, I'm going to be getting him on. He was supposed to come on here a few months back, so I'll have to organise that. But you actually had him on your channel. And I've promoted his long game audio. If you haven't listened to the long game audio, you should. The voice actors he gets on are pretty amazing. It's actually Big Finish quality, isn't it, Ballstrick?
Oh, yeah, it's actually really well done. I would encourage everybody at least listen to episode 1. But it is Big Finish quality, obviously with different actors, but it is well worth listening to.
Yeah, it is. And I hope to have him on. So if you're listening, Chris, I will get in touch with you soon and get you on at the start of the new year. And you can fill us in on any more projects. Actually, he filled you in on a few. He has a couple of more in the pipeline, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I know what they are, but they're completely under wraps. So I can't say anything about it until they're officially released. Good. But they're going to be. What's coming up is actually really cool.
Lovely. I look forward to it. I have to say, I actually sat here one night, was lying on the sofa, put on that Big Finish audio, and it just brought me back. It actually did. It managed to do something that this series has failed to do so far, is to make me feel like, see, this is what Chris Chibnall doesn't understand, right? They say this is a family show, right? Fine. I can deal with that. To me, it's a sci-fi show, and fair enough, families do sit down and watch it. But to me, the show has been in the classic era. If you look at it, some of those episodes, stories, in my opinion, are aimed more at the adults than they are actually at the kids. And you could see that it kind of did go down that route, and I've had no problem with that. And I know when it came back, it kind of had to, and reinvent itself to bring newer fans in. And we've never had a problem with bringing newer fans in. And we had new fans in 2005. And those newer fans, the majority of them, let's be honest, have been pretty sane, pretty nice people, and have gotten to learn about the history of the show. But we've got a new breed of fan now since Whittaker. Well, just before Whittaker's era, we've had a new breed of fan. These fans don't take take too kindly to their beliefs being attacked or their ideology being attacked, or people just coming at them with facts. They don't like truths. I don't know where I'm actually going with this point, but I just think it's going to be very interesting to see how the fans react to Series 12 as well, because we've seen how they reacted to Series 11, and there was a clear divide there. Now, are we going to see a bigger divide? Or are we actually going to see this show try and attempt, which I doubt it, but I still live in hope, because as a Doctor Who fan, we always have a bit of hope. But I live in hope that Chris Chibnall will strike the balance, but I doubt it very
He
bloody
won't.
much.
He won't. They hate the fans. Nothing will change as long as they are there, and I don't think anything's going to change as long as the BBC is in its current iteration.
So basically, it'd be better off if Doctor Who was taken off the screens.
Yep, that's it's sad to say, but that's what I've been calling for since I witnessed last year. The only thing they can do now by continuing it is damage it. Unless everybody currently involved, I mean everyone involved with the Whittaker era is fired or given some other project, and they bring in completely new people and people from prior to this era that know what they're doing, and they decide to drop the diversity and inclusion strategy requirements, which unfortunately I don't see that happening either.
Colin puts up, Gary called it after Rosa. The Doctor visits the camps in World War II and no doubt utterly disrespects the SOE agents who died there. Yeah, I'm not looking for. When I seen that in the trailer, and Yvette brought it up earlier, when you see France burn up like that and stuff, that does kind of. Look, Doctor Who, not with this current team, shouldn't be going anywhere near historical events, because they're never going to do them the justice that they deserve. We've seen
but they're going to do it. They're going to do it because they think that everyone needs to be like, brainwashed and reprogrammed.
Yeah, well, history is kind of whitewashed anyway. We don't have the full extent of true history anyway. But when they start lying about
written by the winners, and it always has been. But even so, there are people still around that remember the war, for goodness sake, and they know that didn't happen in Paris. I had a grandfather that worked on a very, can't really talk about it, but he was out in France during the war, and some of the stories he had was amazing. And but I know for a fact that Hitler saved Paris because he thought it was so pretty. That was his actual quote. So the whole scene on that trailer of Paris burning made my blood boil, because yet again they're riffing around with history and facts that are only in the last century, and people are still alive and know exactly what happened. Eyewitnesses are still about. It's not like something that was the 18th century or 17th century or whatever. This one is gonna knock people off even more because they're still around.
Stephen Cassidy says special operations is executive, early MI6. MI6. So what I was going to ask is, because it's actually very interesting, MI6 seems to be one of these things that's going to feature very heavily in Series 12 by the sounds of things. So the question I'd like to ask you guys, is early MI6 going to be the new unit? Because let's remember, Resolution unit was kind of, we don't know if it was really disbanded, but they made that reference towards that it was basically gone. So MI6 seems to be featuring very heavily. Is MI6 going to become their version of unit?
Well, as
Because they wouldn't have to pay, if you think about it, they wouldn't have to pay the guy that invented UNIT. They come up with their own yoke then they don't have to pay royalties. Because this is what these new franchises do. If you even see what they did with Star Wars, I mean, they made little tweaks to the Millennium Falcon and other stuff or destroyed it because for the simple fact is, you know, they don't want to be paying George Lucas any merchandise money. So maybe Doctor Who is probably going down the same route with certain things. That's why we've kind of got the redesign of the Dalek, and we might get redesigns of other characters as well. So they don't have to be paying these estates. What do you guys think of that, actually? Could MI6 be the new unit of this era?
Well, we see the president's plane in it, don't we? So,
yeah, in the trailer, we have to stress that. That was
and we know UNIT's been disbanded. So, logically, it's a way to think about it. The president's plane is obviously in our time stream, and she's moving backwards and forwards in this 2-part story. But she'll be working with MI6 now, and then the early MI6, the special the SOE team. So maybe they're rewriting history and knocking UNIT out completely by changing history.
Yeah, see, this is my worry now. I mean, what do you two guys think, Ballstreck and Blue Bonnet? I mean, like, it does, I don't know, maybe I'm way off, I could be way off, but when you see the way they're doing things in Hollywood and all, and they try to get around these sort of things, it wouldn't be far-fetched to believe that BBC could be doing something like this to get rid of UNIT so they could have their own kind of organisation to help the Doctor.
That's a big possibility. I mean, but it scares me because I think, what else are they going to change?
Yeah, it's Chibnall's MO, so he's either going to bastardize UNIT or he's going to give us something else that fits his agenda, and we all know what that agenda is.
Yeah. From the Dalek photos, the Dalek no longer have plungers. Some Daleks didn't have plungers, but
no, they had claws.
Some had claws, and I know in the photographs this Dalek. But here's the interesting thing, actually talking about that Dalek. So Chris Chibnall, obviously, as we all know, the propaganda articles have been flooding out. Now, I've had actually a few people complain on my channel, Noel, why are you doing these articles and why are you putting them up? Well, I always do because, you know, you get accused, and Ballstreck does the articles as well, because you get accused of being one-sided. So you kind of want to show both sides, and which I will do. I did it last year for Series 11. I put up some of the articles that they were throwing out there. Now, there seems to be a lot of emphasis this series, and I've noticed with the articles, they're talking about how scary the monsters are going to be. They're talking about how terrifying these villains are going to be. Now, I will say one thing. From what we've seen in the trailer, some of the villains do look interesting. Okay?
Yeah, interesting.
Not scary. Not scary,
No.
right? But here's the thing. Chris Chibnall has obviously come out last week with an article, and he has actually said that the rumors about the Daleks coming back are unfounded. Now, this guy, it must think we were born yesterday, right? Now, we all seen that video. We all seen the video footage, right? Chris Chibnall, right? So if you're actually saying that there is no Daleks in Series 12, well, then what you're basically saying is those Daleks are going to appear in a special, right? A special that you've denied that is even happening, right? So the fact that you've actually come out and said that there's no Daleks during Series 12, and by the way, if they do turn up in Series 12, you're an absolute knob, mate. Because
there were Daleks in Series 12, because the special at Christmas, it's either linked to Series 11 at the end or the beginning of Series 12. And the Daleks at the end of Series 12 is either linked at the end of Series 12 or the beginning of 13.
It's
I think it's the beginning.
It's part of the it's the same production run. So last year's special is linked to Series 11.
He said he said there'd be no Daleks. There'd be no old villains last time. So
but there were.
The thing is, we seen the footage. It was leaked all over the internet. They tried to actually pull down YouTube channels that were actually showing this photograph as well, by the way, because some actually got a copyright strike. I managed to actually get away from it because they couldn't do that, because the footage was there for everybody to see. The newspapers picked it up. Right now, he's saying they're not there, so they are linked to this special. So this is why I think there is some. Right, and I go back to this latest source information, and again, I would say it's rumor and speculation because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But what I've been told is that she will appear in maybe the first, and she definitely appeared in the first episode of Series 13, and there's a possibility that she'll appear in the second episode. Right, so if you think about it logically, right. She has to do that Christmas special that has the Daleks in it. She's obviously going to be wounded in it, and then it'll carry on. They'll leave us with a cliffhanger. Will she or will she not regenerate? Sort of bloody thing to build hype for Series 13. She appears in the first episode. They regenerate her. New Doctor in the second episode. I actually think, right, with all the stupid things that Chris Chibnall has done, right, this would actually be a stroke of genius. Why not have a regeneration at the start of a series rather than the end of a series? And I actually think it would work rather well. Now, again, it would actually the rumors are though is that not only have they decided to abandon the whole idea of the male Doctor taking over from Jodie Whittaker, apparently not only are they going with another woman, but they've decided that they're going to change to change the Doctor to a black woman as well.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah. Now, if that happens, then then it's
That
over.
is SJW rumor crap.
But I think it is just a rumor, to be honest. I think the next Doctor is going to be male. I'm sorry, but what do you think of the idea of a start of the season regeneration from Jodie Whittaker at the start of Series 13? Then that would obviously fulfill her contract as well, by the way. And I know some people says, well, no, she'd have to complete all episodes, but that's not necessarily true.
No, that's not true. They,
not
they
true
did it in the
all.
past too.
Yeah, they've done it in the past.
Baker. Yeah.
Now, I know she has said she's coming back for Series 13, but again, and I keep reminding people of this, Christopher Eccleston said the same thing, but he was already sacked, and he appeared as Blue Peter in his Doctor Who costume, and he did interviews saying that, talking about the series. So the fact that Jodie Whittaker is talking that she's staying, it means absolutely nothing, right? Right now, it means absolutely nothing. When I see her turn up for Series 13 production, right, it still won't mean nothing to me. I will wait. If she's there for months, then I know she's sticking around. But she's only there for a couple of weeks, because remember, it's very interesting. We didn't get to see much of Jodie Whittaker filming this year. Which made a lot of people speculate, all right, she was rumored to have walked off. Did they finish the series where she's in it at the start, she's not in it in the middle, and then when they got her back, she turns up at the end, sort of thing. So I don't know. See, there's so many questions. There's so many unanswered questions as well. So many questions to be asked, so many unanswered questions. It's just, this era is that, do you know what? I will say one thing about this era. It might be shit, but it's the most interesting era to cover so far. There's so many different threads. We don't know how this is going to pan out, which in a way in itself is a little bit exciting if you're a YouTuber like me and Ballstrick. That's gold, because you don't know where this is going to go. This could end up being the biggest shit show we've ever seen, or it could end up being a masterpiece. And me and Ballstrick saying, are we living in a parallel universe? Is Chris Chibnall actually pull it off this time?
No,
because all we got to do is look at Torchwood and Series 11 to know. I don't think he's going to just suddenly start writing great stories, and she's going to. For me, I just can't see it. I just can't see her becoming a great actress and him deciding to write great stories. But I could be wrong. I mean, you know.
No, you're not wrong.
No,
I don't know. It's
no.
Yes.
I'm going to have to go. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to head off in a minute too, Noel. Sorry, man.
Has to head as well. Yeah, I know everybody has to
Yep.
head off. Sure, we were only
Yeah.
supposed to do 2 hours and we're 18 minutes over. So I'll tell you what, we'll go to 2:25 and then we'll call it a day. Is that a deal?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Right. So here, listen, we'll just briefly we've covered Spyfall. Why do I always get mixed up?
Because it's
between-
James
Because
Bond.
it's so bloody near to these.
Yeah.
So
It's insulting.
It is.
Yeah, so Spyfall. I'll tell you what you do actually, because we've only got the 5 minutes. So give you our YouTube channels there, and I'll shout out and tell them where to find you on social media and stuff like that. And we'll end it there because I know balls tricks to go off and feed Lexi or whatever, or bring Lexi out. We have to do the same with Ted.
And I need my bed.
And you need your bed because you probably got some big lecture coming up. Yeah, actually, what is coming up for Yvette in our calendar over the next few weeks? I know you're joining me here anyway. Actually,
Yeah,
I
I'm going to
can-
rework it, so I'm definitely available every Wednesday. No problem.
I'll actually announce me 2 main panelists. So I've got 2 panelists that will be here every week. So we have the Rabbi from another universe. He has decided he will join me each week. And wonderful Yvette right here will be joining me
There you go.
Awesome.
also permanently. So if anybody else, I know Blue Bonnet, you haven't, you
Yeah,
don't know
I'll know more after the second.
Yeah, so you're available for the 4th, so we'll bring
Yeah,
you
like
on.
at least that. Yeah.
Yeah, so for the,
we need you on Blue. We're
So-
okay.
the 4th panel will have Yvette, Blue Bonnet, obviously the Rabbi from another universe. And if there's one more person, Ballstrick, I might as well ask you because you're here. If you're available Monday, if you've seen it, but obviously there is a bit of a time difference, so I don't know how that would actually work. But
Yeah, I will try to make it if I can. I know I've got a few other commitments as well. But even if I'm not here for the whole stream, I will definitely make an appearance.
no problem, and I appreciate that. So I thought I'd ask you because you're on anyway. But if there is anybody else out there that is that wants to come on every week, we'll be rotating other guests. If you would like to come on, join the tournament panel for that week, drop me a message. We'll have one obviously on Wednesday, and then we're back again on Sunday because obviously we get 2 episodes in 1 week. Actually, guys, how do you feel about the 2 episodes in 1 week before we swiftly move on to giving you our shout outs?
It's like ripping a Band-Aid off for me. Just rip it off.
They've blown the budget on the 2
Yeah.
2 episodes. And it'll just collapse after that.
Do you know what kind of baffles me? How quick they seem to want to get this series out. We've heard nothing.
Yeah, they
right?
do.
If you think about the way the whole year has went, right? We were talking about the fact that we didn't turn up at any of the Comic Cons. We were getting very little information. Then we got the whole Cardiff mess that blew up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we got the Tolls and Coles stuff. Then we got all the Manny Guild stuff with our Instagram, with the changing of the time traveler. It was there 1 minute and then it was gone the next. Bradley Walsh's CV. We had all this, but we still had no information on the show, right? Then we got that poster where Space for All or whatever it was, or Next Space for All, right? The silhouette. And then we got that little 15-second TARDIS teaser, which I do like. Then we got the trailer, right? Then they dropped another trailer, and then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, Doctor Who's back New Year's Day.
Yeah, it was very, very, very quick.
It was just, it's like as if, I don't know, would I be right in saying by the way BBC have acted, the way the production team has acted, is they don't actually have faith in this show anymore themselves? They've actually lost faith with it. What do you reckon? Do you think they've lost faith? Because I mean, they just true. It's like, there you go, it's done. There, it's out for you now. There, no build up, no excitement. It's just, there's the trailers. There's a couple of clips out of context, but we'll just throw them out there anyway. You keep getting BBC America and the Doctor Who official Facebook page. 2 days to go.
Yeah, I've seen them.
It just seems like there's no excitement whatsoever, even from the BBC themselves. So how did they expect us to get excited? Do you think they've lost faith? I think they have. I honestly do. I think they've been deflated. I don't think they thought that Series 11 would get the reaction that it did.
Yeah, I don't think they thought people would hate it as much as they do.
Yeah, I think
Chibnall's has got something to do with this. He wanted to start the build-up in December, and he literally wanted the run-up to New Year, because of all the rumours that it wasn't going to be released till Easter time, which
was the original rumor,
yeah,
it makes sense though. Easter would have been the proper time to bring this out. I find it actually highly unusual that it's actually the series is actually dropping New Year's Day.
Well, usually it's a special at this time of year, and then we wait, and then we get the series sort of plonked, sort of early to mid-year. But Chibnall's has an ego the size of this planet, and if he demands something, people are bowing over at the moment. I have no idea what this twat has on people, and I'd love to know, because I'd like to deconstruct it royally. So, you know, there's a lot of things that have been very dodgy about this whole thing. We know the regeneration was filmed. We knew that.
Yeah.
And basically, all this extra filming for 2 months, if you ask me, my own opinion on this is they've taken the regen out, filmed something else in its place, moved the regen to the first episode, because Chibnall's didn't want to give us what we wanted. He's going to make us wait till Series 13. That's the sort of twat.
That's what still gives me hope that Jodie Whittaker is gone, because that's the type of ego he actually has.
Yeah, he is. He's a narcissist.
And yes, and he would do something like that. He would make us wait, because everybody would traditionally think, oh, the Doctor is going to regenerate at the end of that series. But because the rumor is being out there, so he's going to say, well, you're right.
I'm not going to give it to you.
Exactly. You're going to wait. I'm going to make you wait another year.
Yeah.
Because that's what it will be. It'll be another year before that series actually comes out. Because we all know, and even Matrix Lord, other YouTubers out there, I think have said it. We know what generation.
If they're not filming by March, we're not going to get anything for another year again.
Well, do you know what? It'll be very interesting, because there was a particular video that was leaked. It was at a student complex, and there was snow in it. Right now, if we don't see that scene in Series 12, well, then I know it's part of that special that we're not getting to see yet, because they were filmed. The student had actually said there was snow. They actually had laid out snow. They had the snow machine there. There was Manip Gill there. There was Bradley Walsh there, and Tolson Cole, and they were walking away from a block of looked like those flats where I think the Manip Gill's family live in. And they were walking away from that, and there was just those three. Now, I didn't see that in the trailers, so it'll be interesting to see if we see that in the show. Now, if we don't see that in the show, because I still have that clip somewhere, if we don't see that in the show, I'm going to get that clip back up again, actually. And if that's not in the show, then that's definitely that special. I don't care what anybody says, right? There was too many sources saying that a regeneration scene was filmed. I don't care what anybody says.
Including my own. Right? Including my own. My own source saw the regen done.
Information gave me this information, right? And if the Spyfall information that they took down, and listen, all I did was I gave the plot away, which I shouldn't have really. In other years, I would have gave out for someone giving the plot away. But you know what? I honestly don't give a crap anymore.
I don't think anyone does.
I want to ruin it. You know what? I'll give you a laugh here, right? So BBC made YouTube take it down, right? It's funny. It's all over Facebook. I plastered that video all over Facebook. So feck you, BBC. There you go. That's one for you. So don't care. You can find it. It's up about 500 times. It'll take a very. You will have to pull me Facebook channel down to stop it from being up there. I don't give a crap anymore. The end of the day, right? Well, come here. I didn't even put any photo. Do you know what? They overextended themselves. That's what the BBC did. They should never have took it down in the first place. If you are trying to say, right, do you know what it says? Insider, I gave away trade secrets. Trade secrets. That's exactly what the video
What
said.
the algorithm probably picked up on.
Trade secrets. I gave away was the cliffhanger. I told you what a certain character that was going to appear in this episode, what they were going to be called. I told you how big Stephen Fry's cameo was going to be in it. If that's actually giving away trade secrets, well then I'm sorry, BBC's will have to try harder than that.
Wow, that's trade secrets.
That's exactly what I got taken down for. So I gave, this is what I did, right? This is what I did without giving that away. I gave the cliffhanger away, right? Which does sound pretty impressive, right? I also told people how much screen time Stephen Fry was basically going to get. Right. And I also mentioned there's a character coming back to the show, and I actually mentioned what the name of the character they were going to play on that show, and that's what BBC took down. Now I put that in my own writing. There was no BBC photographs. There was nothing that could get me copyrighted, basically. And BBC went after that video and got that Spyfall video taken down. Right now, I've shown the evidence because you will get people. Oh, you're making all this up. Well, I've shown it. I have it up on my community post if people want to have a look at it. Trade secrets. So I gave away. So BBC are actually acknowledging what I said on this channel was true. Either that or they just, as you said, there must be an algorithm out there. But I doubt that. I mean,
no, something like that would have to be manually claimed.
Yeah, I mean, what the ball trick did, because I don't know if I sent you the video. I think I did.
Yeah, no, I've seen the video. Yeah, I've got it.
Did I? Because you know more, you know better than me, because you've been on YouTube a long time. Did I break any copyright rules in your opinion?
Well, and I have to go right after I finish this, but really, no, because speculation is allowed. I'm like, you look at Doomcock, he does it all the time. So you're allowed to speculate, and what you did was essentially speculation. You may have gotten something right, but it wasn't trade secrets. I'm like, you're not trying to invent some kind of science product. You're speculating on a show. Yeah, but there's lots of shadiness. Well, there's shadiness going on with my channel with the BBC right now. So no, they're trying to discourage or shut down channels. But yeah, but on that note, yeah, I gotta go. My dog is going nuts.
Right. Well, Bob, just before you leave, just give your YouTube channel an shout out there and what other upcoming videos you have, and then you can head off there, mate.
Yeah, and Yvette, was great finally seeing you in person. Well, on the computer, but in real time. And Blue Bonnet Hoovian, yeah, I said before, I've actually been subbed to your channel. I think we're probably about a month or so. But yeah, so anybody out there that isn't subscribed to Blue Bonnet Hoovian, look her up.
Thank you so much.
Great videos, and yeah, so
I appreciate
awesome stuff.
All right, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And it's been, like I said, it's been a great time talking to everyone here. And
me too.
I'm all over the internet. Just look for the angry trail of angry Twitter people, and you'll find me. But yeah, but on that note, guys, I have to head out.
Thanks, mate.
Right, good night.
I really appreciate it.
Night, all.
Night.
Thanks for coming on.
And I'm going to say good night to everyone as well. I've got to hit the hay.
No problem.
All right. Night, everyone. And I'll see you New Year's Day.
Yes.
All right. Love to everyone. Bye.
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 So I'm going to say good night as well.
Yeah, we've got your link up there as well. So just the link is there for Blue Bonnet Hoovian's channel. Ballstreck's channel is also in the live chat there. So please give them a sub. We will be back Probably tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure if I'll be back tomorrow. I was supposed to be doing something with another YouTuber, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Okay.
So I might do something tomorrow. If not, I will be back New Year's Day for that panel. And Blue Bonnie, you'll be joining us
Yeah,
for the first one. I
absolutely
know
for
that.
that. Yeah.
So we have our panel already set up. So do join us New Year's Day, definitely. I will let you all know early tomorrow if I'm going to be on tomorrow night. I will let you know on Facebook and Twitter, the usual places. So yeah, until then, have a good night. And Blue
All right.
Bonnet, thank you for
No
joining
problem.
me this evening. Really had a
Fun
good
as always fun.
No problem. Nice to have
All
you
right. Well, night,
See ya.
everybody. Bye.
on. Good night, Blue Bonnet. And that's it, folks. We will talk to you, as I said, New Year's Day after. It'll be an hour after the episode actually drops. What will probably happen here is I'll watch it with Cheryl, and then I'll watch it again myself so I can take notes, because I actually want to just sit there instead of moaning at the screen. I actually want to sit there and actually watch the episode. And then in the second viewing, then I could do all me moaning and ranting if there's something I don't like in it. And then that'll be it, because I have to be fair to Cheryl, because, you know, Cheryl might enjoy it and I don't want to ruin it for Cheryl this year. No, so I'm going to be trying to be more balanced, and I will, and I said I will, because there's no point. Look, if it's good, I will say it's good. If it's bad, I will say it's bad. It's simple as that. But I will sit there and watch it. And no, I won't be 20 minutes, Paul. I'm going now. Right, good night. New Year's Day. An hour after the episode drops, I will put up the link an hour beforehand. When the episode actually airs, I'll put the link up. Okay, talk to you all Monday. Maybe tomorrow I'll let you know. Good night. God bless. Enjoy the rest of these evening. Bye-bye. So long. Farewell. End the broadcast.